Hello everyone, and welcome. My name is Melissa Acid Sunshine. I have the absolute pleasure to have been welcomed back by IPL tonight for Swim or Sink 64 and be joined by one of the very bestest of people in the entire world, the Barry. How are you, my friend? How are you doing tonight? What's going on?
I am doing wonderfully, and I'm doing even better since I get to commentate with you.
I know it's been so long. It's crazy.
It has. It's been far too long, but of course, just us being reunited in the commentary booth is not the only thing that's got us excited. We've got some fantastic Splatoon action to look forward to tonight, heading into our first round of Swiss Ocean 7 versus Squid Killers. There it is. Perfect time.
Yeah, very nice. And I recognize some of the names on Ocean 7 too. I mean, I recognize a few on Squid Killers as well. But having been out of the commentary game for at least a little while, some of these still look familiar, so I'm excited to see some of the players come through. But is there anyone that you recognize that you are looking forward to watching play?
Well, I definitely recognize a couple as well, but I'd say on the side of Squid Killers, Sorella, if they are playing, as both of these teams do have fairly large rosters,
Mhm.
Sorella could be an interesting one to watch. They do often bring out a squeezer, and I enjoy watching a good squeezer player, of course. But Floopsy also is going to be very, very potent, whether or not they're playing Nautilus, Rapid Blaster Pro. They have kind of an assortment of different weapons that they can pick from, and they're dangerous on all of them.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a name I recognize but haven't seen play in quite a while. And you mean to tell me Sorella is not going to play a Sorella-brella? Isn't that the only uh, branded weapon that they would call their claim to fame right there?
Sadly, as observant of a point as that is, the Brella is just not in the meta these days.
Hmm. Who cares about the meta anymore?
Yeah, too many people, but you know what's not meta? Some of these maps, and I quite enjoy watching non-meta maps.
Me too. Especially looking at Piranha Pit Splat Zones, I feel like the last many times that I've had the pleasure of watching Piranha Pit, it's usually clams actually
Hmm.
or tower control, but Splat Zones is one of my favorites for this because it's the dual map. It's huge. It's like this is probably one of the biggest maps in the entire game, so it's always really fun to see what people can bring on this.
I absolutely agree, and I think it's obviously a map mode combination that has a lot of people with varying opinions. Some people absolutely hate this one because they feel it's difficult to get out of spawn and easy to get locked out.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I think because there are so many different entry points, obviously with far left being the strongest of the bunch. Well, I say obviously, I feel that it's the strongest of the bunch. There's a lot of different options for how to play this and how to try to lock out. Getting into that position where you're able to shut down a team from even coming back into mid is not an easy task to do. So I will be interested to see who's able to achieve that first.
Me too. I think that's something like you talked about getting locked out. If you are able to sort of hold the zones and close the other team in for as long as you can, it gives you the best opportunity to put yourself in a place to win, because there are not many times that I've seen this map be a total shutout. Of course, I say that, and I'm going to jinx everyone tonight, but for the most part, I feel like this is one that usually would go to time.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think more often than not, even though we often will see large pushes of 60, 70, sometimes even 80 points, it's very rare to see the 100 to 0. And in zones, once you have a massive penalty put on you, it's so difficult to get rid of that penalty. So even if you have a team that's constantly just chipping away at theirs in a losing position, they're at least going to take it to, if not overtime, the full 5 minutes.
They absolutely are. So it's going to be kind of fun to see what they'll do on this one. And I know we still have them readying up and getting set to go, but I don't know, Barry, if we have an opportunity to watch some really great sniping play, can you give me, so for everybody listening at home, Barry and I are part of an entire spawn point takeover of IPL commentary tonight because we have Think Before You Ink coming up. So Barry, I want to make you think, and I want to know if we see some, and I'm going to say this real fast before we see the weapons, if we see some snipers come in today, I want to know how many picks you think they're going to get. And we have the bamboo. Okay, how many picks are they going to get?
Well, I think the Chargers are going to get 0 picks because if you subscribe to the Charger theory of that SRB2 dude, you're not going to count bamboo as a Charger. But as far as sniping goes, I think Beast gets 14 KA 14 KA on the map. Yep.
All right, I like
Not
it.
off to a good start as Squid Killers does get wiped. So the instant commentator curse coming out, but this is far from, hopefully, not a secondary commentary kind of the commentator curse. This is going to be far from the game just off of this one wipe.
Yeah, they have quite a bit of time in order to get back in here. And they do have the range. They held up a lot of those specials right there. They brought out some really good armor at the perfect time. Sorella got a nice pick. They're taking these zones back right now. They are going to flip over in their favor. There we go. I'm like, I know it's going to happen. And now they're in a position to hold for just as long as they can here.
Yeah, not to mention, I think, obviously we rarely see comps without armor these days, but it's kind of different to see the Tri-Slosher being the main armor provider. That NZAP's going to be able to pump out a lot more armors than the Tri-Slosher in theory. Not saying that Valorok should be counted out just yet, as they find a beautiful pick and the assist off that armor, as Ocean 7 do take back the zones, and they're looking to try to get a little bit feisty, but backing away from the bamboo is probably the smartest option in that fight.
It certainly is. Staying as far out of that range as you can is going to be the smart play there. But also now that we sort of had a little bit more of a mid game, people have come back from spawn. We're fighting over and over for these control of these zones, which is what I love about the dual zone map here, because one team can hold on to one for quite a while the other team hangs on to the other. As we get some of these specials that are going to come out, like the Stingray, also will help assist in protecting the zone for Ocean 7. But Squid Killers are not backing down just yet.
No, even though they lost a member in the Soda Slosher who had, I think, that Burst Bomb Rush ready, they still opted to try to fight for the zone, but in the end, it's going to be a full wipe as a result. And that does put them in a little bit of a dangerous position here, especially as Ocean 7's penalty is just about gone. And that ends up, they were not exactly aware of Pixel's roller there. Thankfully, it didn't die to them, but unfortunately, as they've taken one of the riskier options to push back in here, kind of lightheartedly too, I would say, they are going to go down, and it's going to be a little bit longer before Squid Killers is able to get this push back in here to try to neutralize the zones.
They have to just be really conscious of it and take their time, like you said, and maybe taking a little extra time could be for their benefit, but what they need to do as they do that is make sure that they're hanging on to one another's positioning. I think a problem we're seeing right away is they continue to go down, and when they come in, even though they're saving those specials for a really good push, like right now, using the missiles too, they're able to help to neutralize the zones as well. They aren't just staying alive as much as maybe they need to be.
Yeah, I would 100% agree. I think possibly the one member so far that I've really seen trying to stay alive as much as possible as we see it again. Beast on that bamboo was able to get a nice double to allow for Squid Killers to push back in here and put a penalty onto Ocean 7 again. But again, the cost that it took for them just to cap the zones was 3 members of their team. Realistically, when you're pushing back in, you have to be able to do more than just get the zone. You have to be able to paint the outskirts of the map. You have to get a pick or two. Otherwise, you're just going to find yourself over and over and over again capping but wiping, and that is not a winning strategy.
That's kind of exactly what's been happening too. Let's see if they'll be able to hold on to it a little while longer now. But it's really tough with Mr. Beast, having that bamboo going against Valorok. You don't have a lot of options when you're facing down a tri-slasher like that, especially if you're a bamboo. So even though you have the most amount of maneuverability and short shots, it's not going to get you out of there very confidently. So I think that's part of what we're seeing a little bit here and there. Nice clean out that's happening though. They almost had that jump, but it means that they also left the zones available for a neutralization to happen as well.
Yeah, but if they're able to come back and get a pick off of it, that position could be a strong one to hold. But unfortunately for them, they do go 2 down. It's just going to be Beast and Sorella here trying to hold on to that zone. They do a successful job of that. But with the Tri-Sloshers dropping from Belt, I don't know if they're going to be able to hold on to their zone as well. But I say that as we make it into overtime. 2 down on the side of Ocean 7. And this is very, very tight. Those missiles are going to have to do some of the painting, and so is that suction bomb. But I don't think it's going to be enough. They keep trading.
Oh, it's so close. Oh my gosh, every second. Those are the moments you just sort of hold your breath and you wait for the counter to tick down. And I saw it go at 12, neutralize, and then go back. And whew, very, very tough for their 88 to 89 as well. So if we were playing in Think Before You Ink, that would be a very close match there of whoever got closer to that 48 that we're looking at.
Of course, it's a little bit different here as we're into ranked modes, but that said, such an unbelievably tight match, and hey, I think we did a decent job of, even though we had a few commentator curses in there, we did a decent job of predicting the full 5 minutes and overtime to decide that one.
Certainly did. I think that's a map that you can confidently call going to time most of the time.
Yes, yes. With that said, though, perhaps we have a slightly different map coming up here in Rainmaker's Snapper Canal. I feel just about every time I see this one, either kind of stalls around the 40 mark, or somebody knocks it out.
Yep. I think this is one of those that you're right. It's either an all or nothing. And I don't know. I'm really excited because I love Snapper Canal so much, and I adore Rainmaker on here. I think one of my favorite things are obviously watching people fall in the water when they are unsuspecting and maybe miss a jump or something. I don't know. Maybe it happens more so on Manta Maria, but also a fun map. So we'll see what we get coming back here. Ocean 7 had such a good strong hold on the beginning of that last map, and I'm curious as if this is going to develop a theme for this set or if I'm reading into things too quickly and too early.
Well, and I think that's fair to read into a little bit as we're just waiting for, I believe, a substitution to be made. I think it's fair to expect these teams to have another tightly contested match that was very, very even in the last one. Even looking at the KAs, we had 2 people, or I guess 1 person on each team kind of fragging out and getting the picks, but the other team members were there more so just supportively. And Rainmaker is I know it gets a bit of a bad rep, myself included, in the doing of that from solo queue, but it still is very much a team-based mode. If you can't escort your team to the pedestal, then that Rainmaker carry is not going to make it all that far.
Very, very true. it's tough because when you're talking about solo queue, you know, you don't have the opportunity to communicate with your team as well as you can when you practice for it and you play through these maps over and over again. So I think that's always something that I'm shocked to see when a team is not able to support their Rainmaker carrier. And they do run into those issues where the carrier gets to a point and the rest of the team is struggling to cover them and to allow them to move forward quicker because there's no paint, or they make that kind of very wild, unsuspecting solo run, and all of a sudden they've knocked it out because nobody is looking where they've gone.
Well, hopefully we're at the point where that doesn't happen as much anymore. We like to think that in pretty competitive teams, people aren't going to lose that much of a focus on the objective. We
You'd
like
like
to
to
think
think
that.
so.
We
Yeah.
yeah, I do like to think so.
Yeah, me
Does it
too.
always turn out that way?
No,
No. Yeah.
but that's okay. I mean, that's
It
part
makes
of
it more
the
interesting.
fun. Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly. Yeah. I think we're both on the same page when we think about that too. Of you know, you've always had those moments when we're watching a competition and all of a sudden it's like you blinked and you missed it. You know.
And no other mode more than Rainmaker, for sure,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to that. But getting into this one here, we actually see, I was expecting to see two custom Jet Sculptures coming out, but it's going to be the vanilla Jet Sculpture with the ray being provided by Beast on that Dynamo, the Silver Dynamo. A very rare choice, but one that I like to see.
Ooh. Yeah, because it's a regular, like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's really, this is a little different than what we're used to, but I'm liking it too. I think the Dynamo also is going to offer some unique angles that maybe we wouldn't necessarily get with a lot of other more, shall I say, typical weapons on this map.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see how it all comes together for them.
Well, so far it's come together moderately. A small little push of 89 for Ocean 7, but it's going to be in a pretty strong position to try to continue this push, especially with their Jet Sculpture nearly having the Ray ready. Just going to be a missiles and armor available to the side of SK in an attempt to slow down this push, but with the numbers going down and a lot of picks being found, that push to 40 is going to happen relatively easily before that Ray is able to come out and stop it.
That's exactly the type of push that they're looking for there too. The trade, though distracting for a couple of the members there, was not as helpful as maybe we would have wanted to see. So I'm very curious for what will be going on next here, of how they'll be able to pick this up and move it forward. Not a whole lot that SK has to do here to break through that 40. It's not a super high number, but the warring the warring stingrays won't make it very easy for them to move so far.
Now, and Shiori doing a good job of finding that Raymaker carrier first and foremost, and then even surviving to the secondary Ray, not always the easiest thing to do, but Flare finding a convenient suction bomb kill and will be able to use those missiles to slow down any sort of push off of this, but the numbers are a little bit at the disadvantage of Ocean 7, and Castro S able to make a very strong push all the way up that block, going to move it to 25 in fact, before Shiori is able to stop that. And I think that will finally be the end for SK on this push, but a very nicely done effort to get a pretty strong lead, I would say.
I would definitely agree with you. Sometimes all you need to do is hit the bottom of that block to get the 40, and pushing all the way up to 25, it's not so much further, but it's the time that it takes to get up the block that really matters to give you those extra 25 points, I guess. Math, reverse
15?
25 points.
15,
Thank you.
yeah.
15.
I got
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
I'm not a math whiz, but I can assist in that. As was Sorella in assisting killing the Raymaker carrier there, or trying to prevent their Raymaker carrier from being anyway, but Sorella, the thing is, right now, the Raymaker is kind of in a strange spot.
Yeah, I was sort of wondering where the jump out from Ocean 7 came from. I mean, they had like three people over there. Sorella was there trying to stop it for sure. Maybe that was just what they wanted to be able to give the opportunity to reset it so they wouldn't have to push it so far over. Um, but it kind of felt like they could have maintained their position for a little bit longer and forced Sorella out in the open, maybe gotten a pick off them. But now Sorella has missiles yet again, going to wait for those targets to come out and display some positioning there. Does get a pick with the help of that assistance tracker, and now just gonna bide some time with less than a minute left on this map.
Distance tracker, also known as Tandem missiles, as they do offer a lot of information. Thus, why they've become more and more and more and more popular, as easy as they are to use. But that said, I kind of do agree with you going back to that point of it seemed like Ocean 7 would have been able to do something with that. I mean, it felt a little bit risky on the side of Squid Killers to leave the Rainmaker where it was, and yet
Mm-hmm.
Ocean 7 didn't pick it up to try to make a push happen. Considering where they're at and where they need to get the Rainmaker to, that feels like it was a misplay. And right now, SK are just able to kind of control mid and not allow for anyone to get a hold of that Rainmaker. Uh,
Yeah,
that's kind of going to be the match, I think.
I agree with you. I mean, two down on Squid Killer's side as well, and there's no specials ready for Ocean 7. So if they're going to make this push really count, I mean, obviously they have to get above a 25, but they just didn't have anywhere to go. Like you were talking about earlier, you know, it's really about your team supporting you. And in that case, the team wasn't ready for a solid last game, end of game push.
Yeah, no counter ray available to try to cancel out Beast's ray there. And even though it was a 2-up situation for Ocean 7, I think just a few missed opportunities in terms of pushes. Ultimately, obviously, the better push coming out from SK, but realistically, we only saw 2 substantial pushes, which is
Hmm.
not a lot in Rainmaker. Usually, you would end up seeing quite a few more.
Yeah. All right. So I think we are going to go on. I'm sorry, I'm trying to understand what exactly is going on. I saw that it was a play all three, but then, oh, we are gonna. They delayed game. Okay, because they did have those subs in there. Understand now what's happening. So they delayed a little bit. They will play that final game off stream, but we are going to keep moving ahead onto our next match, which is going to come up in just a moment. While we wait, maybe we can do a little bit of plugging,
Yeah,
shilling,
there's
if you
there's
will.
quite a few. This is now, if you are a fan of Splatoon, the month of April seems to be just for you, as there are so many things going on this month. Starting off with Kickoff. Unity Gaming is proud to present its first tournament, Kickoff, this Sunday, April 10th at 7:30 CDT. So that's Central Daylight Time. 8:30 to you East Coasters like me. Join us for a no holds barred single elimination tournament with a $100 prize pool. For more information, make sure to contact Elias at Elias pound hashtag. How do people identify that symbol? 6550 on Discord, or join the Unity Gaming Discord server, as you can see it right there.
Very, very nice. Um, awesome. And then another great thing happening in April on the 22nd of April at 7 p.m. EDT. I find this very funny. Both of you use EDT, and we're actually in savings time right now,
I
but that's
know.
besides the point. Uh, Midnight Lights is a great new mid level exclusive tournament. Look at that lovely logo, too, with a skill cap and skill floor. Join them on April 22nd at 7 p.m. Eastern for a chance at a cash prize. Nice. For any questions and announcements, join their Discord at discord.io/midnightlightspl. Registration will close 2 hours before the tournament, so make sure you get those registrations in soon. As we all know, Splatoon is notorious for those last-minute registrations, so give your TOs a break and get them in when you can.
Very well said. And moving on again, because there's just so much
Yeah.
this month. Narval Carnival is hosting their first international tournament, Disco Starlight, a tournament focused on a gimmick banning mechanic. Tired of the same comps being played all the time? Yeah, us too.
Yeah,
This
same.
tournament provides a banning system per round, making it harder for traditional comps to be seen after round one. Pretty cool. The first edition of Disco Starlight will happen on April 10th, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. You don't have to worry about savings or daylight. Just at that time, it'll be 5 p.m.
Yep.
To celebrate the first edition, art prizes to every bracket plus cool Discord rules will be held to the bracket winners. For more information, of course, make sure to head on over to the Narval Carnival Discord and get involved in Disco Starlight.
Get down with the disco. Never mind. Okay. Showing my age there. And of course, our event, what we are here to shill and talk about today. Spawn Points, Think Before You Ink, happening April 9th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. We are really excited to bring this fantastic concept. It's 48%. Barry, can you talk us through what that means?
Absolutely, I can. So in Turf War, obviously, two of the major complaints that a lot of people have with it. Sometimes you get spawn camped because the other team's at 80% and you can't make it out of your spawn. It feels bad. And other times it's like, well, only the last 30 seconds really matters because, well, the first half of the match, eh, you didn't wipe yet. But in those last 30
Mm.
seconds, mm, that's kind of it for you, isn't it? But however, think about an idea where a nice gimmick gets implemented where instead of trying to paint the most uh, amount of the map more than the other team, this time you're aiming to paint as close to 48% as possible. That means you can paint under, that means you can paint over, but as long as you are closer to 48% at the end of that match than your opponent, you win that. It means that more than just the first 30 seconds is required to win this. It means that you cannot just be spawn camped and lose. And it also means that there's going to be quite a few interesting strategies being implemented, whether people will sit in spawn and not really paint
Mm.
around them and just fight from mid, whether it
Hmm.
means that people are going to try to just paint 48% of the map because their visual coordination is just that good. Who knows? But tune in on April 9th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time and find out. Or
You, or
or or if you'd like to play, come on through to the Discord. Even if you don't have a group of friends to play with at this moment, we do have a Looking for Game channel that is more than happy to accommodate people who are looking to get involved and hook them up with some teammates to come through and ink with.
love it. You know what I would do in this case, right? Because I always have to be that person.
I would love to hear it. Go ahead.
I would paint 5%. Let the rest of the team come. Take the 95%. I'm closer to 48 than they will be.
That's true, but we did field test this one a little bit, so 95% not really achievable. That's the funny thing, right? I don't think there's
Hmm.
ever really a moment where 100% of the map gets painted.
Hmm.
Hmm,
So you have to be really smart. Maybe you need to paint 15%.
maybe
And
that.
then the other
Yes.
team gets up to 80%, right? That means you're still
Mhm.
closer to 48. I don't know. There's lots of things you can think about
But that's
in,
counting on your
you
team.
know?
That's counting on the other team saying, "Oh, we're just going to paint 80% of the map." They could stop at 60, and uh-oh, you kind of lost.
Yeah, but I mean, if they stop at 60, you will have the opportunity to keep pushing in then and continue. So I don't know. You have to really know your enemy, right? Know your enemy, know your team, know your abilities.
I think you also have
Um,
to think
I think you have to think.
before you ink.
Ooh, I see what you did there. I see
I
what
mean,
you did there.
it's kind of what we did there when we decided to name it. But yes, it's going to require showing that you have a few wrinkles of the brain.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it really will. So that is going to be so much fun. Speaking of fun, we are waiting for our lobby to fill up for our next set here. Um, what did you want to call this team?
So, as you might be able to tell by looking at what's on the screen, you have Magic 8 Ball, Triggerfish Zone's Supremacy, and dot dot dot. But this is a very long winded name that probably is brought to you by several of the people here that you see on your screen. But most of all, it's Kraken, I would say, who's the cause of a name like this. We're simply, and this is a callback to all of you SOS fans out there, we're simply going to call them the Shamrock Shakes.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay,
if you hear us
Shamrock
say
Shakes.
Shamrock Shakes, that's this long worded team name over here. But a much better name, in my opinion.
Me
Octostamp
too.
Fan Club on the other side of things.
I like that name a lot, Octostamp
Yeah,
Fan Club. It's a little bit of a mouthful, but like that is so cute.
it is, and it's like I want to see the things that are implemented into the Octo expansion become involved a lot more in the game when Splatoon 3 comes around. You don't get to see the Octo stamps unless you play the Octo expansion.
Hmm.
That needs to
You think
change.
you think they will be around in Splatoon 3?
Well, I hope that Team Chaos is winning of the quote unquote final Splatfest didn't cause an extinction of the Octo stamps, but I guess we just have to wait and see.
I have to say, Barry, this is a little bit of a controversial thought. I'm sorry. I know
Okay.
Nintendo said that whoever wins the Splatfest would like have an impact on the next game. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I think they put something in for both of the teams, and they're going to have a way where they could be like, yeah, well, of course, that relates to this, and that relates to that. Yeah, don't buy it.
So what you're saying is, if the world is made up of chaos, we find ourselves in uh, what's that movie from not too long ago with Tom Hardy, Fury Road,
Sure.
Mad Max, which Fury Road, not the first installment of that, but I haven't seen the other ones. So
Hmm.
what you're saying is, in a chaotic world, we find ourselves landing in the land of Mad Max, but also in an orderly world, we find ourselves landing in the world of Mad Max.
Yep. And they will have some reason to say, no, this is order because, and this is chaos because. So maybe the world of Mad Max is able to definitively speak for chaos, but maybe they'll be like, no, actually, all of the Inklings and Octolings are part of an order, the New World Order, if you will, that's, making things neat and tidy for everyone out there.
That makes sense to me.
I don't know. I mean, that's just my take on it. I think Nintendo has to appease everyone. And that's what they did with this map for sure, because it's a fan favorite for reals.
It is, and a lot of the reworks certainly improved it drastically. As we move into arguably one of, well, I don't know. I think just about every mode on here is a good one. Clan
Hmm.
Blitz certainly offers a lot of different and fun options, and as you always and rightfully point out, it's not just about controlling the top of the bridge, but controlling the bottom of the bridge too.
Especially in this mode. I think this is one of them that a lot of people sometimes are like, no, I don't totally agree. I think you need to control bridge, you control the map. This is one where no way. Because so many clams are going to spawn literally everywhere. If you
Hmm.
just maintain control of bridge, you're missing out on lots and lots of clam spawns elsewhere on the map.
Yeah, I believe it's almost at the maximum amount of time, or I guess the maximum number of spawns on a bridge, you can basically swim underneath from tree to tree and pick up 16 clams. So
Whoa.
a lot available down there. As we're going to see go on go on Minaj, sorry, not Inky Minaj, but go on Minaj, jump on in here with that baller, but also with that football and open up the basket here for Octostamp Fan Club. As they're starting to continue putting more points on the board, Kraken not able to do a whole lot to prevent the influx of clams into that basket, as the brush is not going to have a favorable matchup against basically any of those weapons.
No, unfortunately not. I mean, I still believe Brush is going to be a really, really good pick for this, but I think
Mhm.
this mini and Honestly, I'm not angry about the Explasher either. I think both of those are pretty good for their maneuverability, the range that they have, and the power that they're going to bring. So I feel like comp-wise, I have to side with Octostamp Fanclub a little bit to say that they have the stronger comp facing off against Shamrock Shake here.
I absolutely agree with you, and I especially think so when we look at the ranges of these two team weapons, or these two teams' comps. The weapons on the side of Shamrock Shake do not outrange the Mini or the X-Washer, and that, unfortunately for them right now, means that that X-Blow is raining down on them from top bridge, and they're completely unable to contest it. And hey, even if you do find a close range fight, it's against an NZAP or a Splash-O-Matic, and that Splash is not going to be an easy one to win in that fight. As we see the Bomb Rush come out to assist with this push and put more and more pressure on any members of Shamrock Shake around the car. Magic able to pick up that pity and use this baller to try to push away these two players on Octostamp Fanclub. But even then, they might have had to have given up that football just to get rid of them. As I say that,
I was
maybe not.
wondering too. I was like, are they going to lose that? It's tough though because they're in a really tough spot, right? In order to keep that pity, they do need to continue to carry it because if they let it go, they risk someone going down, not being able to pick it back up. But maybe it's still better to have that other pity
Well,
than waiting, and then we get the game over. Okay.
we'll get to the game over. Don't you love the Ink Storm to
Yeah.
kind of block out? I mean, we could see the footballs coming, but that one final clam, nobody saw it coming.
No, no. Absolutely. That was always something that I wondered. I thought they said they were going to fix that on the commentary view and sort of make that a little more translucent, but sometimes you just need a little mystery, right?
I think Spectator Cam does a brilliant job of all the mystery all on its own. I'm interested. The mystery that I have on my brain at the moment is: will Shamrock Shake change their comp substantially to try to be able to match some of the range that we saw coming out there from Octostamp Fan Club?
Honestly, they're really going to have to if they want to do anything here. Very different concepts in terms of maps, but they're played really similarly, right?
Yeah.
So I think if they want to control anything in Splat Zones on Anchovy, they'll need to be able to have something that has more range and more power behind it. Maybe it's still good to have that ink brush to be able to move throughout this map quickly because it is a big map. You want to be able to maneuver yourselves, get where you need to go as soon as you can. But I don't know. I think the rest of their stuff is going to have to make a little bit of an effort to change.
Yeah, not to mention, if they're not able to put pressure onto that X-Washer, I'm assuming that we do see it coming back, which, why would you not? It's arguably just as strong here. Maybe you bring out the bubble version, but even still, the ink output that it has at that range for a zone as small as this, if they're not able to challenge them up close or with some sort of long-distance weapon, that's a free zone for Octostamp. And
Yeah.
realistically, it's not a lot of changes coming out in terms of range, at least, on the side of Shamrock Shake.
Yeah. It's going to be tough. It looks like they changed things very slightly. They don't really have any excess range. I think the only, correct me if I'm wrong, difference I see is the Tri and the Gal.
So the 52 gal is new, and I thought that the Splash was also new, as opposed to Kenza Doolies and
Yes.
yes, something else as well. But
Yeah.
on the other side of things, you now have a longer range splatling in the Nautilus, and that's an even more potent one. I don't really see how they're going to be able to get close to the zone, as Octostamp Fan Club have already moved up to the snipe.
I agree. I think Kraken, we saw sort of like starting to make a little bit of a push around the side there, but has to be super careful in that. What I've been seeing Octostamp Fan Club do really well is pay attention to the locations of the map. Every time somebody is coming around to sort of catch them unaware, they are taking advantage of that. They're making sure they're holding on to their positioning and they're just taking them down. And I mean, this is very blatantly obvious in the fact that we're less than 10 to go and we're only 3 minutes and 45 in. Like that was one of the fastest knockouts I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's certainly for zones. It's this is one of those maps where you get 2 wipes and that's basically it. And unfortunately, they're not a bad idea to try to send 3 players out left and take the zone when perhaps Octostamp Fanclub was a little bit overextended on the snipe, but their rotations were so good to come back and focus it as a team. I think we saw a Booyah Bomb come out. We saw, sorry, the Booyah Bomb was on the side of Shamrock Shake, but to counter that, we saw 3 players looking at that Booyah Bomb. One of them Arden Inkjet, and immediately shut down that attempted retake.
Yep, that was a lovely, lovely shutdown there, though.
It was.
Also, have to go ahead and say that we were incorrect in terms of EDT. So it is daylight savings time, not daylight standard time right now.
But
so it is EDT, not EST. Yes.
That changed recently, right?
Yes, on April 6th, 5th. No, April. March. It changed in March. On March, whatever the day after, the weekend after St. Patrick's Day, I think, or before St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah,
it changed in February. Yeah, sometime around then. It was a while ago. Yeah, so I just want to correct us. Hate daylight savings time to begin with, just as much as I hate none of these weapons for them. Obviously, we're gonna do this play all 3. I like what Shamrock Shake did over here, bringing out the Brella, bringing out some things that I think they're just gonna kind of have some fun with here. Yeah. Because we are at play all 3, they might as well just enjoy themselves, right?
Yeah, they might as well. And those, I don't know if anyone else spotted it, but the sub power up on that undercover Brella is going to mean for some massive ink mines as a nice pick coming out there from Magic on the bamboo to hopefully stop this push. And actually, if I'm being very honest here, this is one of the strongest counter comps we've seen from Shamrock Shake coming out appropriately in the green ink. They actually might have a chance at this, memeing or not. I think they finally are able to match that range, and that's really what they've been lacking.
I agree with you. I think it's really smart, and like you said, like having those power-ups in there. Ink mines are so deadly with this mode. If you get in a place where you already have a little bit of damage from whatever, and you hit an ink mine, you're in a tough spot, and I think they are finally thinking about that, and how they can kind of use that to their advantage. So the number one thing that Shamrock Shake needs to now do is push, regardless of sort of where things are going. Like that right there, that ink mine was placed perfectly.
And not to mention that the chip damage opportunities that they'll be having, one from the Raymaker shots itself, but the Inkstorm, the bombs coming from the Tri-Slosher, 52 gouges does massive amounts of damage. But the bamboo, if any damage is done, that's a one-shot bamboo. So it doesn't matter if it's 99.9 or if it's 0.1. That bamboo is getting the kill if you've been touched by the ink mine.
That's why you love it so much, right?
It's effective.
I
don't know if I love it. I don't know if I love it, but it's effective. Speaking of effective, so are these shots from Sovalis there. Able to push the Raymaker all the way up to 9 before another trade coming out there between Prosper and the Tri-Slosher. I don't think they're going to be able to continue this push. At the very least, Kraken should be able to get this Raymaker away, but the Toxic Mist almost prevented that, and the Vanilla Jet is still looking for the pick all the same, but going to be doing so from a much safer spot in mid now. Decent rotation, though, and it's always Raymaker, so it's never over until the knockout has happened.
Very, very true. The other sub, I guess, that I really love for this mode is Toxic Mist.
Mhm.
So I'm really excited to be able to see it be utilized so much here. Obviously, we saw Kraken had a tough time getting out of that spot because of Toxic Mist, and getting a lot of really lovely picks right now, too. Kraken, go off, please. That's kind of like 3 in a row. Held on to that Rainmaker for a seriously long amount of time, pushing up to 33. I think that was a really fantastic push coming in there.
It definitely was, and there were plenty of picks to go along with that push, as well as another member, the L3D, going to go down there. Magic is able to find, oh, I mean, it's a counter of that Toxic Mist, though. How do you counter that? As long as they keep throwing it down, it's going to be nearly impossible to be able to take lead off of this sort of push. And Magic's going to go down there to the L3D before getting traded by their Tri-Slosher DRF. But right now, Octostamp Fanclub in a good spot to just kind of let this reset and defend. And you can see Go on Minaj using not only the defensive Toxic Mist, but the offensive Toxic Mist to clear space and find enemies who might be sharking around a little bit, able to get a pick off of that too.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Really smart use of all of the opportunities available for them within placement for a lot of these kind of tougher obstacles, I guess, to navigate around. Because imagine if you have Toxic Mist, if you have an Ink Mine, and then you get a Booyah Bomb coming out, you're pretty much stuck in your place. Like, you're not moving, and someone's just going to come off and pick you off.
I think you probably are moving. You're probably moving to spawn if all of those things come
Yeah,
out.
that's true.
But with that said, a lot of members are in spawn currently for Shamrock Shake, just cracking alive before all those respawns came in. Using the splashdown to good effect to make sure Sovilis does not push this Rainmaker to the knockout point. But with only 30 seconds left on the Rainmaker timer and only 10 seconds left on the game clock and a full wipe coming out, I mean, they can go try to dunk right now, but they don't even need to do that. They win this match. Regardless, getting the knockout eventually, even with the dunk, the 4-minute and 57-second match, the knockout with 3 seconds left. Always a good feeling.
Always, always. Knockouts are a lot of fun, and fantastic job coming out to Octostamp Fanclub here to, really, really good job right there.
Yes, absolutely. Beautiful, clean 3-0, and I mean, that sets them up in a fantastic position to move on into bracket.
Awesome.
Just doing a little quick check to see if we're waiting on anyone. I think we have at least one more set, but it could be 3 with no scores coming in from Group E. Group E, what are you doing? All right, I'm gonna step out of the commentary booth here, Melissa, if you don't mind me, and I'm going to just run through as a player. If you're a player and you're playing in a tournament, and that tournament's on Battlefy, or whatever it's on, right? And you win a match or you lose a match, put that result in.
Yeah, put that result in.
Don't leave the people waiting. Don't make the TOs guess how far you are into your set. Put the result in.
Absolutely. Do you know how fast it is if you put a result in versus having to wait? Oh my gosh, that was the biggest pet peeve of my life when I used to run tournaments in my retirement.
It's a pet peeve of mine as well, not even as a TO, just as a player. I want to track how the other teams around me are doing, and to see these, not even 0-0, but just the dash, dash, frustrating.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. The dash, dash kind of looks like a blah face, I was going to say
Yes.
an angry face, but it's not really. It's like a face.
Resident Sleeper, but in the old school form.
Yeah, I still use that with the 0 next to it, the old school sweat drop. But, I think we're only waiting for one group to come out of this with a result right now, which I guess it must have just updated as I say that, right? Because now we know who.
Well, we know. Though, thank you, Group A. for putting your matches in. That's what we will say. Because you are right. We do know who will be viewing here in this third round of Swiss before moving on to bracket. It'll be Lima Limon versus Demon Hunters.
Very nice. Very nice. In looking at these, some more names I recognize.
Yeah.
Gem for sure. Obviously, Radish I've seen around before. Surskit, Lucio, Surge, maybe not who I'm thinking of. So
Okay, you
this is
say
gonna be pretty
Gem
fun.
for sure.
Gem for sure.
Which gem do you think this is?
Not the gem that I think it is.
Do you think this is gem of, I think formerly of Grillers?
Yes.
That gem is spelled with a G, my friend.
No. The gem that consistently plays in Swim or Sink and has played in, I was going to call it Fresh Start Cup. SAC before. Maybe not part of the Grillers.
Stratagem?
Nope, that's with a G.
Nope. Yeah, okay, all right. Then you know more gems than I do because I only know that gem. But
and the only reason I remember this gem is because Gem is Truly Outrageous, which is a 1980s cartoon that was my favorite ever. I have a lot of favorites ever, but that's really top of the list there. And it's spelled with a J, like that, Jem.
I mean, you say you've been in retirement, and here you are dropping knowledge.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. If Gem is listening in the chat and you've heard me commentate some of your games before, please tell me I'm not crazy. If I am crazy, then, we're all mad here and it's all good. We can keep going. But
I don't doubt you on this one. Form is temporary, class is permanent.
I don't understand it.
It's something that gets said in soccer or football, as is known outside of the US. Even if you're not even if you're rusty, if you have world-class talent like you do on the commentary mic.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I trust. 4 shooters is something I also trust, especially when it comes to Rainmaker, especially when there's a brush on the other side. Well, Gem is going to be put on the spot here. Not an easy fight against basically any of those weapons. I said Rainmaker. It's tower control. My apologies.
I thought it was Rainmaker too, actually.
That map really didn't look like tower. Anyway, Surskit, a very handy blaster, to say the least. Looking to find a pick here early, but these missiles are going to slow down Lima Limon's push into mid as they try to avoid going down, but it's going to actually be Demon Hunters first to the tower and also first to fall.
Yeah, I think that so far it seems like we've kind of hit our first set where we don't have a wipe within the first minute so far. I think that bodes really well for us and for the type of Splatoon that we're going to be seeing today. We do have,
You say that, but then there is unfortunately a disconnect.
Oh.
So I think the commentator Chris could not have been more real. But as far as my memory serves me here, obviously very early on into the match with barely any team making any progress, we should be seeing a replay momentarily as Demon Hunters did the right thing, jumping out, stopped playing. And now we get to rate the party. How do we rate the team party on the tower versus the team party in the spawn?
I mean, the tower is popping. All 4 of them are pretty much staying on there. We got Jay popping a some jets right now. And that's always some fun you want to see. They were doing a great job just having a good time until somebody had to go and mess it all up and go forward ahead of everybody else. But, it happens. And thank you, Toasty, our on high today. Gem is from Prism. Yes, thank you.
That makes sense with the triangle.
Yes.
At the end there,
yeah. Yeah. So I feel a little better now. I'm like, I know I've seen them before.
Well, let's hope that that Splashomatics internet is also feeling a bit better too, as we will pretty quickly head back on into this one, I would assume. Hopefully no delays in the readying of up.
It seems like it. It seems like we were able to come back pretty quickly. It looks like we got everybody in the lobby back again and set to go. I always love DCs because, you know, everybody readies up quickly because they already know what they're playing.
Yeah? You can't change?
You don't have to think about it much. You just go back in and hit the button and then keep going, keep rolling. So we'll see what they do from here.
Yes, we'll see. Hopefully, no major changes because it was fixing to be a very closely contested match. I would imagine that neither of these teams in the second playthrough of this Open should go down to a wipe, but it's going to be a very aggressive Open there from the Splash player, trying to make as much of an impact as they can. Hopefully, this is a joke, while they're still connected to the match, but we'll hope and wait and see. A nice pick there from Surskit with that Inkjet. Actually, it might not even have been the Inkjet. It might have been, now that was the Inkjet, but it might have been an Autobomb to get the first one.
It certainly may have those sneaky little Autobombs, definitely everybody's best friend, but we'll see now what's going to happen. We have the tower moving in the other way pretty quickly. Biz is on that, but 2 down on Demon Hunters, and Biz going down. I believe that's actually a flat-out delayed wipe, if I had that correct. Lima, Limon doing their best to push this tower back into a position that they feel confident about. Go after this first checkpoint yet again. They do need to break it, otherwise they are going to have to pull it back one more time. They're struggling with it, Barry. They're not having the best time breaking through that checkpoint right now.
To be fair to them, going through quad shooter is a challenging thing to do. I think a lot of work is going to have to be done in the painting department by the NZAP and the brush, and a lot of the fragging department is going to be a challenge for that Nautilus and Surskit's blaster. But that's not to say that they won't be up for the challenge. Surskit getting a nice bit of damage onto Biz there, contesting that tower before going down to the Booyah Bomb, but perhaps doing just enough to delay this checkpoint break. As an armor will come out here from Lima Limon. Radish doing a nice job to flank the tower and find the pick, and able to find it a second. And that is going to be, I mean, talk about close. 72-72 is what I think that was briefly. Neither team able to quite take control of this map just yet.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to see. Radish, though, riding the tower seemingly to a place that feels pretty good. I think they're going to be in the best opportunity they've had thus far to break into this checkpoint. Not a lot of players from Demon Hunters in a position to push this tower out of the checkpoint. They are... Oh my gosh, I really thought that they would get it. But it looks like they had to back out. They're trying to hang on to their sanity and stay alive. One player up on Demon Hunters, though. Sergey does eventually go down there. And should allow, yes, for Lima Limon to break through that checkpoint.
Finally able to do it. It was probably the third or fourth time of asking, but able to now move into a strong position. Does use that Inkjet to a good extent. Able to find one, but goes down, unfortunately, before being able to find a second. Looks like that could be the end of the push, but ultimately 49 not the worst here. And if they can set up in a nice defensive position to hold on to mid, that would have been excellent. But Nectar is going in, able to find a couple of picks on their own, but will eventually be traded out by Radish as well.
Yeah, really nice there. I think their teamwork has been great. Their communication seems to be something they're paying very close attention to where everybody is. When someone says, I can't be there, someone's there to cover usually. Of course, I say that, and then Bert coming in and just gets a really lovely pick off the tower, even while attempting to stay alive from there.
Yeah, I think that's a very strong observation you're making there. A lot of people have been able to make the correct rotates, but it does feel like both of these teams always just has one player pop up at just the worst moment to stop any sort of real push coming through for the other team. And we're kind of back to where we were at the start with a bit of a stalemate. looking for mid control and kind of just pumping out specials to not allow one another to move in. I think what we're going to see here is whoever can get the next pick could have a big hold on the impact of this game. 2 going down there on the side of Lima Limon is not the time for that if you are rooting for them.
Certainly isn't. Not what you want. I think... Oh my gosh. Lima Limon is going to have to do something right now in order to stop Demon Hunters from continuing to push this tower. I say that, they do.
And they have.
They got 3 down. I mean, that's... What else can you do, right? You get 1 more, maybe, but that's pretty good.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's absolutely fantastic, and able to find the 52 gal who had the Booyah Bomb at the ready, and for some reason we didn't get to see that come out. Even though the T-Tech will make it to tower, they're not going to be able to sit on it for very long. And that's Lima Limon doing a nice job of controlling the match and not allowing what was a relatively okay lead to even come all that close to being challenged.
Very, very true. Look at that KA, though. Wow,
Yeah.
almost double. Beautiful.
It makes sense when you're going up against a team with armor when you're not running armor yourself.
Very true. Very true. So, Barry, as we go into Splat Zones on Mako Mart here, I want you to think a little bit further. If you had to pick 3 things that you could buy from Mako Mart, right?
I see.
And they all added up to 98%. 98%, not 48%.
98%, okay.
Okay. Which we're going to translate to 98 cents. What are 3
Okay.
things you would buy from Mako Mart for 98 cents?
98 cents is not a lot to work with these days. You understand this, yes?
Okay, pre-COVID, 98 cents.
Okay. Still not much. I'll take, I guess, a pack of Planters peanuts for about 50 cents.
Okay.
And then I'll take 2 of those kind of knockoff Starburst candies that you can get individually.
Ooh,
That are
I
like
like that.
a quarter a piece, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I think that's about all I can afford with 98 cents. In fact, I'm going to have to take 2 pennies from the penny jar.
I could see that. Yeah.
And what are you buying? Okay,
I
I'm
would
gonna up your budget. What are you buying with $98?
Ooh, with $98, I'm buying the whole aisle of toilet paper.
It was pre-COVID. That's fair. Moving on in here to Splat Zones Mako Mart, one of everybody's favorite maps in the entire game. Not just Splat Zones maps, but something that we always see good performances coming out from. A change off of the quad shooter comp from Demon Hunters as they bring in a Luna Blaster. I don't hate that at all, especially on the contour of this map. A lot of opportunities for them to be able to do some good damage at angles that shooters aren't going to be able to get.
Very true. I wish that we had a little more, I guess, good news early on for them, though, because those angles really didn't help at the very beginning there, right? Did I get them?
No, you're correct, but
No.
you are absolutely correct. But right as you said it, Luna Blaster finds the splashdown cancel. So
Ooh, okay,
can't hate
all
that.
right. Yeah, no, I am a equal opportunity weapon lover for Splatoon, and I would say that Luna Blaster definitely has its place. Certainly here, it's always fun to watch. You know, if you're gonna go shopping, you might as well bring the moon with you. And what else can you do that with a Luna? I'm sorry, I'm done. Anyway, we are having a really nice mid match right now. I absolutely love those types of play where everything goes on right there, and then we get 3 down from it. A delayed quad.
Yeah, I mean, I think fantastic movement from the Luna Blaster to avoid that last shot from Radish on the Junior, getting the kill on them, but able to find the trade, and they've ended up in a position for Demon Hunters to start knocking points off their penalty. This is all coming out from that right stack there. If you're looking from the perspective of Demon Hunters, Not a lot has come of it though. If you're Lima Limon, they're still not in a good position to get to the zone. But as I say, that the blaster will find a pick, and that could be the opening that they need. A 3v2 at this point. The splashdown should just be enough to seal the zone cap, and that will put a nice 55-point penalty onto Demon Hunters.
It certainly will. I think it's going to give exactly what they needed there in order to take some time to break down the point here for Lima Limon. They have an opportunity now. They're almost under the penalty. They are under the penalty right now. They can just hold their positioning. I say that and I curse them. I'm sorry.
It's not you. It's that Demon Hunters had all their specials ready to go. That Booyah Bomb had massive impact, and especially with the Luna Blaster pushing through it, able to find a pick or two. Just unfortunate timing to line up with your words, but
it's always what commentators curses.
Yeah,
Unfortunate
yeah.
timing to line up with my words. I'm ruling the show. But right now, they do have a couple of other specials that are coming in from Lima Limon. Biz is doing a nice job here, sort of holding down their side as they can. Gem trying to get this pick on Biz, does chase around the corner here and end up getting it towards the end there. Going to come back up into mid. There's 2 down on the side of Demon Hunters too, so this is a good opportunity for Lima Limon to hold on to everything they can on this zone.
And even though they will lose their Nautilus, it's going to be difficult to get back in, but now it's going to be very difficult to paint over that Booyah Bomb and missiles. Kind of chasing everyone off the zone for Lima Limon. But again, I think what we've been seeing as this match has progressed is Lima Limon have been giving up that space, giving up the zone from time to time, and willing to accept a not that large penalty in truth, just to stay alive. They were able to stay 3 up in that situation, and now they're just about back through the penalty. Only an armor and a baller, well, missiles now ready as well. It will be a challenge to hold here, but they might just be able to do it.
They were so close. But really what they've been playing well, like you mentioned, a low penalty, that's a product of not holding the zone for very long, right? So if you continue to kind of trade the zone up, you continue to get lower penalties and you're chipping away at it as you go. I think maybe that's part of their strategy inadvertently, possibly. Like, hey, like it's okay for us to give this up because we're going to win it back. Now they just need to be careful about taking it over right now and holding it, because we're back down to point on Demon Hunters. They don't have a lot to go. Less than 10 here. Jay coming out with this baller, and we have some bombs coming up. Woo! They do get it. Nice.
Not only do they get it, they find 3 picks as well, and they know where the last player is positioned, but that baller and that Luna Blaster able to find a couple of picks. Not only that, but the bomb is going to come out. The Luna Blaster is absolutely popping off. Does get eventually traded out, but that was such a massive job by them to find 3 kills, allow their team to push back in here, and hold on to the zone. Very well played by them.
Really well played by them. I think those are the types of matches that maybe you start to get a little overconfident right at that last second. Lima Limon thought, hey, we've got this. We don't need to be as vigilant as we were. And Demon Hunters came right back in and said, nope, we've had this the entire time and we are keeping it. Here we go. And really great job.
Absolutely. I think they... In a 4v1, certainly you're not expecting a Luna Blaster to 1v4 you, but Nectar did an amazing job to live, to get picks. Just fantastic, and it's going to send us to a map 3. This is the first we've gotten to see of it, at least here on stream tonight, where this final map will actually be a deciding factor to who wins this set.
And what a map to decide.
Yeah. Now, Melissa, what are you changing here, comp-wise, to try to adjust to this map?
I want to add a slosher. I
that.
think I would keep the Luna and maybe put an Explo on that same side. And then on the other side... kind of vanilla slosher, like, because I think that comes with missiles, right? I think missiles would be helpful here, in order to block off some of these areas that you're going to consistently get with Rainmaker. I think the other thing potentially would be to pick something that uses, what did we see earlier that had ink mines and mist? Two
Can't
separate,
have it can't
two,
have
yeah, two separate weapons. I mean, either
yes,
of
okay,
those.
okay.
I meant like either ink mines or
That
mist
was
would be.
the vanilla jet sculpture,
Mhm.
and the silver dynamo.
Silver Dynamo would actually be really fun to watch on this, and potentially very strong with a lot of the curves that we have here.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised to have seen a ray, which the silver dynamo would have brought. But unfortunately, I am going to remain not surprised.
And I am going to remain wrong.
Yeah, so here we are. The comps did not
Okay.
change a whole lot, but perhaps the most interesting change that we do see is actually Surskit making the jump from Blaster to Sploosh 7. That is a weapon that can be extremely strong here. And the Ultra Stamp, not only a very lethal threat to the well-being of the enemy players, also able to make a very nice pathway for the Rainmaker carrier if they get an opportunity to make that push. But right now, Nectar is not allowing that to happen by any means. Able to find another pick. Going to try to use this baller aggressively, maybe too aggressively at that.
Maybe so. Definitely going to be really tough for them to kind of push through. Look at all those missiles coming out, though. Lots and lots. Biz decides to take my most hated route in this entire game for the Rainmaker and come up that half pipe, stopped right at the neck there, which is where things usually do fall apart. They will run it back. Radish picking up the Rainmaker. There's the brush. I think that was Gem in front of them, trying to pave the way a little bit. There are two specials coming in. We do get that splashdown come out. And Radish making some moves right here, all the way up to 53 as 3 players go down on their side too.
Yeah, bombs are definitely going to be the defense of choice from Demon Hunters, but just narrowly avoiding Surskit's Ultra Stamp. And while Surskit's going to skirt away a little bit, the remaining members of Lima Limon are trapping Biz with that Rainmaker, and it's again in just such a good spot, especially with Radish's missiles coming out, to get a good push going off of here as they continue to have numbers advantage and find a few more picks on top of that.
Very, very nice job. I don't know quite what happened. All of a sudden, we were in the middle of an absolute decimation using that Ultra Stamp right there. Really scary stuff here, but we're now waiting for Lima Limon to push this Rainmaker a little bit further up. They get onto the block and lose it down to a
Booyah Bomb.
A Booyah Bomb. Thank you.
You're welcome. And I was actually a bit surprised to see, I mean, Surskit almost looked to be making a pathway for that Rainmaker carrier. Didn't end up painting that block. I don't know if they had that opportunity, but it certainly looked like it was possibly available to them. I think if they paint that instead of having the Rainmaker carrier try to paint it mid-jump, maybe they make that jump, maybe they push the Rainmaker up to 24, and even though they are in a great position here with 3 down on the side of Demon Hunters, it could have just made for a little bit more of a comfortable lead to hold on to.
It absolutely could have. I think that it felt better that way, but you know what? They're going to keep going because that's the name of the game. Radish holding this Rainmaker one more time. Gem has pushed up pretty far. The Rainmaker did go down to somebody from behind, which is not always the way that you hope for here. Lost a couple of other players. That is a delayed wipe, though, which is going to allow Demon Hunters to push this forward, maybe even give them a stronger chance for a lead. They have a couple of players jumping in as well to help support this push. I like this side much better than I liked on that left side that they were going earlier. So maybe they can do something here, Barry.
Yeah, possibly, but that is a well-placed bomb from Surskit, and that is a full wipe, no delay this time. Going to be able to try to continue the aggression here, moving all the way up to that block, which is what a lot of players will look to jump across. And finding some players to shoot in the back as well is going to make that task a whole lot easier. Not even allowing the Booyah Bomb to get off. I think this is maybe game, definitely game. 1 point, I mean, it is Rainmaker, but at one point you're requiring a knockout for Demon Hunters to win this set. And Surskit
Yeah.
has not stopped fragging.
And Surskit's specking Surskit is actually kind of amazing right now. I'm sort of blown away with how quickly their camera moves. I don't know the last time I've seen camera movement this fast. As we continue to sort of watch them play this slow game of I'm going to break the barrier and then someone's going to take it and I'm going to break it and someone's going to take it and we're still at 1 point mean, Barry? What? Like, they're
Yeah,
just doing
I
this to
think
curse you.
a little bit of it. I think at this point it's just Demon Hunters cannot get out of their spawn successfully. And they're not
Hmm.
even going to be able to pick up the Rainmaker despite Lima Limon popping it for them. Um, Ultimately, just a brilliant final push there from Lima Limon to take the set 2-1.
Very nice.
Not a lot more to say.
Yeah. No, seriously though, Surskit really um, painted their heart out right there. Is all you can say about that.
Yes, yes. And on top of that, uh, I think realistically, the if we're going to try to add a little bit more, perhaps insight into this match, um, I think it took far too long for Demon Hunters to try to take the alternate path instead of taking that left side through half pipe. Um, with only a minute left, I know going through mid is what ended up giving up the push to one, but uh, when you find yourself trying to move the Rainmaker through a path that's simply not working for you, you have to make that adjustment a lot quicker.
Hmm.
Even had they not wiped there, I'm not sure that they would have been able to find an opening to take lead. So ultimately, I would say Lima Limon, deserving winners, certainly in that last match, but probably in the set overall too.
Yeah, I agree. I think they played really well. I'm excited to see again further play from them come out, which we will have an opportunity to do so pretty soon. Demon Hunters also, we got to watch them play 2 sets. I think they're showing what they can do pretty consistently as they put their mind to it. So for now, we are going to take a look real quick with some of the fantastic tournaments that we mentioned earlier that are coming up. And then we'll go to a break. So, first, as we mentioned earlier, I'll start this time with kickoff, Barry. We do have kickoff, which is going to be a fantastic new first tournament from Unity Gaming. Kickoff Saturday, April 10th at 7:30 CDT for a no holds barred single elimination tournament with a $100 cash prize. For more information, contact alias number 6550 on Discord or join the Unity Gaming Discord server. Hope to see you there.
And of course, later on in the month will be Midnight Lights, a new mid-level exclusive tournament with a skill cap and a skill floor. You can participate on April 22nd at 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for the chance at a cash prize. Of course, make sure to join the Midnight Lights SPL Discord for any sort of questions and to stay up to date with announcements. Be sure to get registration done before 2 hours prior to the tournament because that is when it gets closed and you don't want to miss out.
And we know how it happens. That being said, another great thing to happen in an evening is Narval Carnival, right? Narval
Hmm.
Carnival is hosting their first international. I cannot speak tournament. Disco Starlight. Time to get down, focusing on those gimmick banning mechanics. Tired of the same comps being played? Yeah. All of us are. That's why we come up with cool gimmicks like these. This provides a banning system per round, making it harder for traditional comps to be seen after the first one. So, going to be super a lot of fun. The first edition of Disco Starlight will happen at 10 p at I'm sorry, April 10th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And art prizes will be given out to every bracket, plus cool Discord roles. So make sure that you check them out at discord.io/Narval Carnival. And I
And oh
believe
my god, are they on an SOS ad spot? Yes, they are.
They are.
They
Oh my
are. And
gosh.
last but not least, Spawn Point this very weekend is hosting Think Before You Inc., where we are offering raffles and art prizes for donation. Did we ever talk about how this was a charity tournament last time?
I don't think so,
I don't
actually.
think we did, but this is a charity tournament raising money for Project Hope that will be focusing on providing relief to Ukrainians in their current crisis. Again, that is Project Hope, and we are hoping that as many people will come on through and join us for this tournament where you will have to turf closest to 48% in order to win. Now, if you go over, if you go under, that is fine. But as long as you are closer to that 48% marker compared to your opposition, that's how you win the match. Again, April 9th, this very weekend on Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, hosted by Spawn Point. Think Before You Inc. Make sure to join the Discord as well if you're looking for any sort of information, questions, announcements, or if you're looking for some players to play with as well. We have a Looking for Game channel there. We'd be more than happy to provide you with some teammates to ink on through this tournament with.
And for all the great tournaments that are happening this April, Think Before You Ink will be the first one coming up. So if you're looking for a good way to get a team together for the month of April where you can say, hey, we're going to play together all month long, definitely check out Think Before You Ink. Great way to make some friends and do some real communication with one another. So it'll be a great fun time. For now, we'll be right back. We're going to go and take a quick break, and then we'll come back with some more Splatoon coming for you. So stay right there, hang out with us a little longer, and we'll see you soon. Hello, everyone. Welcome back tonight to our 100 wondrous. Wow, I'm so sorry. Swim or sink. I believe we're on number 64 tonight.
64.
And my name is Melissa Acid Sunshine. I'm joined by the Barry. How you doing, Barry? How's it going for you tonight?
It is going very well. I'm looking forward to this top cut.
Me too. And our first match will be Motomamis. Motomamis. Okay.
I don't know if it's mommies or mamas, but
Or
to each their
mammies.
own. Or mammies, could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
To each their own.
Or Motomamis. Okay.
Moto. We'll go with Moto. How about that? Versus Black Magic.
I'm sorry. I had to try
okay.
it. And it looks like we're going to have a lot of fun with this. Neither of these teams we've seen yet tonight. So I think we'll have a good time being able to watch them come together on the first round of our top cut here within the Great White Bracket. Let's see. So we'll start with Tower Control on Manta Maria and then move on to some Clam Blitz on the Reef and Splat Zones on Humpback Pump Track. I believe this is going to be a best of 5, if I am correct. So we will not be back to a play all at this time around. So we are guaranteed for those 3 maps at the very, very least. Tower Control on Manta Maria is a really fun one to me because that tower is a very tall boy and something that we all have a great time looking at as it rolls through this boat ship themed map. So that's going to be a fun one. Less opportunity for people to fall in the water, which is always my favorite spectator sport, which is why I really like Manta Maria, especially for Rainmaker. But we'll see what we're going to have to expect here. So, Barry, are you familiar with either of these teams? Would you be able to give me some insight on what we could be looking at for this first game?
Definitely a little bit familiar with possibly, I won't say all the players, but nearly most of the players. Run into a lot of the members of Black Magic and solo queue quite a bit. So I'd expect to see, I know we'll be seeing a junior. I would imagine we'll be seeing a splat roller. We might even see a double armor with an NZAP coming out, but I don't quote me on that one. But on the side of Motomamis, definitely going to be seeing a Bloblobber I would expect out of Azuna, and maybe an Octoshot out of Pina.
Okay.
Would be my guess.
An Octoshot would be fun to see. Bloblobber is one of my favorites for sure. Definitely one of them that I love seeing coming in.
Yeah, not exactly. I mean, the Octoshot is certainly a fairly common weapon, but not exactly used to seeing Bloblobbers on the tower, though, I will say. But I know
True.
Azuna is a Bloblobber player, so expect to see it throughout various moments in this set.
Yeah, I think Bloblobber could be really good for this map too. So maybe you pick what you would prefer to see on this one.
Yeah. I mean, technically speaking, even though Blob not great at contesting the tower itself, definitely offers a lot of painting support, especially if you're running the Bloblobber Deco, utilizing that Bomb Rush and the Sprinkler. Basically gives you half of mid for free.
Yeah, it does. So that'll be very interesting to see what they come up with and what we'll be able to get out from them as well. So I am looking forward to seeing that. We'll have to, I guess, see what they decide to go with and go for here on this. If we do get a chance to see a Bloblobber, that'll be really fun. But I think it'll be a good time to see what they bring out.
It definitely will be.
So I believe we're just waiting for a couple of players to finish readying up. So give us just a moment here. So we are getting things going. Bear with us a moment.
Yeah, we're just about to hop in here. We have all of our players finally joined in. And I will say, I think, looking at the side of Black Magic, I will. So Edgar is quite a versatile player. I know Edgar from numerous run-ins in solo can play quite a few different things. Often will be playing junior, but sometimes playing E-leader instead. Sometimes the in-between is the bamboozler. So could be expecting to see some charger presence.
Ooh, that'll be fun. Always wonderful to see charger presence.
Especially on tower.
Yeah.
Usually, I mean, I know the splash soap's a little bit dead at times, but I still hang on to it. I love it so much. So while I'm not expecting to see it here, at least from Black Magic, I would be pleasantly surprised. Should I be wrong?
I mean, I think there's an opportunity for it, and I am certainly looking forward to that opportunity. So we'll see what we get.
How about zero charger and nothing more rangy than a squeezer, actually? And a squeezer running respawn punisher at that could be a challenge to get a lot of usage out of that, considering that Black Magic has double armor as the first one's going to come out. An armor coming out for both sides here. Kind of pretty standard stuff at this point in the game, but these splash walls are going to be challenging. And the Booyah Bombs, I mean, the near identicalness of these team comps is it's funky.
I was thinking that too. I'm like, oh, okay. Listen, if they can pull it off because they're have a 1-for-1 matchup for every single weapon, then that's all they need to do, right? Focus on those one-on-ones, taking care of them, doing what they can. I think the bigger problem here is going to be how do we face off, like the Tri-Slosher being the only different here. Makes me feel good about it, but then I'm also kind of like, yeah, but now we're already halfway through that second checkpoint for Motomamis.
Yeah, it is definitely. Right? Yeah, I think to my knowledge, you have. It is definitely going to be a bit of a challenge, and I think sometimes slosher hitbox around the tower can be so tricky to actually work correctly. But it finally looks like Black Magic have been able to clear out their street and stop this push. A bit of movement there to get to that plat from Yorchi, and a nice pick there onto the Enzap Ozuna, the last member alive of Motomamis. Now they will look to hopefully be able to start a push of their own, and getting a nice pick onto the squeezer initially, but two going down to the Booyah Bomb, it's going to make things very, very tricky as we have a disconnect.
Is that what just happened there? Yeah. I was like, that's strange.
I also thought that was strange, and at this point, I'm not positive if this would constitute a replay. In fact, I want to say it wouldn't. I'm not entirely sure until I see if the other members of Motomamis have stopped playing, but it doesn't look like they have, because I want to say that it's once it's past... Geez, I don't know. It could have been if it's past 30 or if it's past 3 minutes, but it was very, very close either way. But I do think Black Magic will be able to take the lead here.
Very unfortunate because I think... Oh, 50 units. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it would have been a little bit of a different game if we were able to see it played out, but that's why we have best of 5, right? They
That
have
is.
plenty of opportunity to take another one here.
Yeah. That is. I mean, there are Ethernet cables for a reason, and there are replay and best of fives for a reason, and we're seeing both of them, unfortunately, having to be utilized to the full extent. But this should be, I mean, it's not inconceivable to win a 3v4, but it would be very unlikely. It should be a win for Black Magic. Again, a bit unfortunate for the disconnect on the side of Motomamis, but credit to them, they have not given up yet. Pina trying to push and find something to do, but the numbers is always going to be a challenge. They're actually getting really close. Like, they're getting dangerously close.
They are. They are. I'm...
Like, it shouldn't... I don't think they're going to be able to do this here, but it shouldn't have gotten this close.
It really shouldn't have. I mean, that wipe is probably going to be the end-all, be-all right there. But maybe not, because they have enough time for them all to respawn by the time they get to this. And if they can keep holding them on this street, then I will be extremely impressed. As one of the modes that people don't usually say is winnable as a 3v4, they're kind of... I'm not going to finish my sentence because I don't want to jinx anything.
I know what you mean. I mean, tower control, because you have to be so active and just a numbers advantage is massive here. Not always the easiest one to win with a disconnect, but it's not to say it's impossible either. You know, if you get one really good player riding on the tower, able to get a bunch of picks, and the other team trickles in one at a time to take those fights, sometimes that can be enough. But that is not going to be the case here. Black Magic pushing all the way down to 3 with 1 final second left. It's all on Lex on the 52 gal. I mean, I will eat my words and then some if they're able to pull it back here on the side of Motomamis, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
I just don't think so either, especially like right now is that moment where it won't. Yeah. It's just sometimes just that one extra player gives you the 10-second advantage that's needed, you know?
Absolutely.
It's not even 10 seconds. It's like 10 millisecond. It's a tiniest bit of a second advantage.
100th of a second is what I believe 10 milliseconds would be, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, you're putting me to the test here with my my mathematics tonight.
Am I making you think?
Possibly. You know what else makes me think? Clam Blitz on the Reef. We've seen it already tonight, but I think these teams are very well oiled, very coordinated, and barring any more DC shenanigans, I would expect Motomamis to try to come back with everything they've got. Not a good feeling to see a DC match count because you've already taken a pretty sizable lead, I'm sure, but all the same, I mean, rules are rules, and I think those rules are very justified, and rightfully so. But I think it just fires you up a little bit more to know that the match continues when you have a disconnect on your team because you've already made such a strong push.
Same here. Same here. I think it's always really exciting to see what happens after something like this, right? Because they come back and they are that much more motivated.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. And while we are just waiting for that player to join back in, trying to theory craft a little if we can with the comps that they were showing. I want to say that Motomamis have the slight advantage going into this next map as well. I think having the bubbles in Clam Blitz, especially in the Street of Reef, is something that can allow for a lot of clams cheese shenanigans that take place. You know, you sit inside of a bubble, you throw in 7 clams, that's 21 points gone because the other team just can't shred your bubble in time. Not to mention, we've seen it already tonight, though it was in a previous matchup on Tower, I want to say. No, it wasn't Tower. No, it was Reef Clams, yeah.
It was Reef Clams.
Expo, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that range advantage can be massive here. Allows you to cover so much more area, especially since Reef is not that wide. There's a lot of there's not a lot of places you can hide in mid that a squeezer wouldn't be able to reach you.
Very true. Very true. I think we're in for some really fun Splatoon coming out from this if we're able to get somebody.
If and when that 4th member comes back?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, I think, they have an opportunity to really, I don't know.
They have an opportunity to play the game in a set that has meaning. That's what they have. If they return. And I really hope they do.
Me too.
Listen, as somebody who has had some internet issues of late because Comcast's not always the most reliable, I can relate to the pain and suffering that is not being able to always have connection to the internet.
Yeah.
And obviously we as commentators and viewers want to see the best possible matchup we can, so fingers are of course crossed that they're able to make it back in here. Should they do so? Okay, let me play devil's advocate here. They make it back in. I hope that's not the devil's advocate part of this. They make it back in. Motomamis takes Clam Blitz to tie the series at 1 apiece. Are we seeing a 4-game set or a 5-game set? I can give you a 3-game set too if you want an even more difficult.
How would we get 3-game set?
If Black Magic doesn't let Motomamis take this map.
Oh, that's true. I think 4-game set because I feel like we're gonna go back and forth, but I also think maybe we just have a 1-game set. I hate to say it, but at this point, if we don't have somebody coming in, then
we do.
we do.
We do.
Oh, we do.
Hi, Noe, beautiful.
We do.
And guess what their name is?
What?
Sunshine.
I have summoned them.
You have.
And they are here.
So now it's a 4-game set for Motomamis now that they have Sunshine on their team, correct?
Now it's a 5-game set.
Okay, it's a 5-game set.
We're gonna get another game for Black Magic and then a reverse sweep is my prediction.
Another game for Black Magic and then reverse sweep. Bring out the brooms is what you're telling the people.
Swish, swish.
Well,
what
we will have
sweeping
to see.
Sound?
I couldn't really tell you. It's one of
the only thing I could think of.
Swish, swish. We will have to see what Sunshine is playing and how they slot into this lineup for Motomamis. But realistically, I mean, considering how well they played in a 3v4 to even get it close to taking the lead back, I feel a good amount of confidence for them. I mean, it's not to say that Black Magic won't look at what happened towards the end of that match and say we need to step it up another level, but I don't know. I guess we find out now. Heading on in to the Reef.
Here we go. So I'm hoping Sunshine plays the weapon that I really like.
The
yeah.
light Tetras?
Yeah, I will take that in a heartbeat.
Or maybe dark Tetras? I can't really keep them. Is it dark or light? I can't keep them straight. It's dark Tetras, right?
Dark. Okay. Yeah, the light Tetras are dark, the dark Tetras are light.
It's funky.
Yeah, it's annoying, but no, Splatoon. But if I remember correctly, we have Toxic Mist on these, right?
Autobomb.
Oh, darn.
If it's the splashdown version. If it's the other one, then it's Sprinkler and Autobomb Rush, but almost nobody plays that.
Yeah.
But even with us not always being certain of which weapon we're looking at or what the kit is, Black Magic are certainly making a very strong first push here, moving it already down to 56, but Asuna doing a nice job of going under bridge, clearing that out, and finding a few picks in the meantime as well. 3 down on the side of Black Magic as they're going to be coming back here. And with only 12 clams, never mind, with 22 clams, definitely enough to go ahead and take the lead back the other way if they're able to score that football. But I don't know that they're going to.
I don't know. There's someone in, or was someone in position. Maybe they were cleared out. Looks like they probably were. So even though that basket gets opened up once, it's not going to remain open for very long. I am curious to their positioning. They still have that other football over there that they keep kind of tossing around to make sure it stays alive, which is smart. But if they don't do anything with it soon, all it's going to do is cause them to be a target. Now we have 2 more on the rise and an additional 3. Someone over by that basket. So is that a jump that just came in? There we go. All right, 1, 2.
There it is.
There we go.
Yeah, the junior RNG kind of just falling a little bit short there to stop that second football from making in. Mocha doing a nice job of preventing any more clams coming in from the close, but the 52 is going to be able to utilize their wall to hide behind after they score some clams as well. And while it is going to be a retreat on their part, not wiping is a very, very strong thing to do here as they're able to then find a pick onto the roller as well. It's almost like the 52 out's really good.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I'm extremely impressed. I feel like I've seen Mocha play often enough now that I'm watching again. And I'm like, oh, this is something that we're used to seeing, something that I'm curious of how much they're going to be able to do this. Oh, and that little bit of hiding right there, sharking to take that pick right there as well. But I'm curious, Barry. I feel like both teams started out playing really aggressive and moving forward as soon as they had enough clams to make a power clam, and then they sort of backed off a little bit, and now they're taking their time and being more conscious about it. I think aggression was the way to play it because then they're a little less prepared for some defense, which we've been seeing some really nice defense set up now.
I would agree with you, and I think one thing that's happening here for both teams is neither one of them really wants to make a mistake that will lead to a game-losing push, right? If the other team is able to capitalize on an opportunity, like on this map, which is true of many clams maps, but I think this one's it's pretty quick from one basket to the other. If you wipe, you will offer the other team basically a knockout at times if there are enough clams spawned on the map. So I think both teams initially with that aggression trying to get the upper hand at the start have now settled a little bit more defensively, trying not to lose, which can usually be enough. But that might not be the case. Mocha having 8 clams after that basket gets broken and will be able to maneuver around after finding a pick as well. If they can get in here to keep the basket open is the big question. And there it is. Someone made it. Not only that, but they found another pick too. 40 is not going to be nearly enough to take the lead, however, and I don't see anyone being able to follow in here to capitalize further. They do still have the pity, so it's not game over just yet, but was hoping for a little bit more for Black Magic.
Me too. I think that it started to be a little bit of a desperation push coming in there too, because we did see that player just rush in and go down right, sort of where Sunshine is positioned now, I think just on the ground level. And that gets really dangerous because then you lose, like you were talking about earlier, not wiping any advantage that you had. So I think this is going to be tough. We have 2 clams coming in right there. They did take the lead. They only need 5 in order 4, and 1, and that's it. And that was pretty good. I'm very, very impressed. I think that Black Magic really showed their skill in that and did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I would agree 100%. And I think maybe a few missteps on the side of Motomatis or Motomamis as well. It looked to me like they weren't able to go and collect enough clams. You know, I mean,
Hmm.
Obviously, map control is very, very important as well, but even after the penultimate push from Black Magic, Motomamis had half the number of clams that Black Magic had. Black Magic, despite having a push that ultimately got stopped well short of lead, ended up having something like 27 clams, and Motomatis had 12 or something.
Oh
It's
wow,
so
yeah.
important to go back and get map control, but also to grab a bunch of clams and not allow your enemy to have enough clams to actually make the push to get the lead. That's a big part of clams as well. Clam
Yeah,
economy.
really. If you control it, then you know you're able to hold everything down, make sure that the other team can't steal any away from you.
Yeah.
Kind of like communism.
It's not your clams. It's our clams.
Our clams.
It's our clams.
Exactly. If we all share
Uh,
the clams, everybody has an equal number of clams, skin the basket. It's a terrible idea, and definitely something that I think most teams will hold on to. But you know what is a very different type of play?
Holding on to the zone on Humpback Pump Track Splat Zones.
Yes, because this
Yes.
is absolutely one where people have a very tough time holding on to here.
Absolutely. I think obviously everyone knows, just about everyone knows that a Booyah Bomb, a well-placed Booyah Bomb in the middle of zone, will not only force the enemy team away from it as the downwards hitbox actually comes through the curvature of the map, but it should almost always be a cap of that zone. So expect to see the 52 gals coming back with their Booyah Bombs, maybe even a little bit more Booyah Bomb oriented. But also, don't be so surprised to see a couple of sloshers coming in here. Very, very strong weapon class for this map. Um, and you're in a position to be correct about the reverse sweep, is all I will say.
I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll find out. Or I'm in a position to be wrong, and Black Magic is going to take this one, and that'll be that. But I think I think I'm with you on this going to Motomamis here. Early opportunity for them to take the zone, so that bodes well for my prediction.
A little bit, but early days still, and I think if I'm being really honest here, I like the comp a little bit more on the side of Black Magic. I think that Fling Saw offers a bit more range, and it certainly offers more missile support.
Hmm.
On top of that, the Tri-Slosher is a fantastic pick, not only for its armor and its burst bomb, but its capping potential, being able to sit behind that short wall that we see Azuna standing on top of right now. Really, really good at just neutralizing the zone, as I think 2 sloshes neutralized it right there.
Yeah.
And of course, with the armor and double missiles coming out here for the side of Black Magic, that's going to force all the members of Motomamis back away from the zone. Though they will use a Booyah Bomb to good effect and cap it back again.
Hmm. That's exactly what you were talking about just before we started. When you get a Booyah placed well, it's going to take control over everything they have. Oh, so close, though, right there, from taking that lead as well. Flingzas, you mentioned it earlier, they're kind of terrifying.
Hmm.
They have, I think Black Magic has the advantage as well. I would agree with you because they have that try-to. So they have 2 weapons that are going to arc really nicely onto zone. But Motomamis has been playing this game very solidly by always keeping someone in mid. They want to make sure that if a Booyah Bomb comes out, they have someone there who can run right back in and take it back over. And I think that that's the way to do it. And that's a very intelligent way of playing this map.
Absolutely. And as we see just fantastic mid control from them, we should start seeing maybe a player or two trying to make that jump across right to put some pressure on the respawning members of Black Magic. Perhaps a little bit loss of focus on the objective, but to go down on the side of Black Magic, and they're somehow able to maintain control of that. It looks like it could just be Motomatis, but it's a 2v2, 1v2, 1v. I don't know. Motomamis is somehow holding on to that zone despite a bunch of pressure coming out there from Black Magic. Getting a point on the board for themselves, sending us into a game 4, 2-1 in favor of Black Magic.
Hey, Game 4, 2-1. That sounds like we're beginning to get to a stage where you might say swish, swish,
Swish,
but
swish.
I don't know.
I am not quite sure yet either. Still, listen, I think that is a map that can get away from you rather quickly, and Black Magic were definitely able to contest there for a little bit, but maybe just a few too many adjustments to their off of what they're comfortable with playing, leading to a quick knockout. But I don't know. Again, I think what we've seen from Motomamis is impressive, and if there's ever a map that we're going to see the Bloblobber come out from Azuna, it's going to be this one. Now, they've been sticking to the support NZAP, which has been very, very good, especially considering how much armor Black Magic has been running. Not saying that we'll see a Bloblobber. In fact, if I'm them, I'm still running the Zap.
Me too.
But I can dream.
You can, and if any map, I think Inkblot would be better for it. But I think that out of what we've seen so far, Blob would be, it's good on Humpback too. So maybe I'm just, I don't know, making stuff up. But what I do think is this map is very unpredictable with Rainmaker. You can get a really lockout match where they just know where you're going every time, or you have an opportunity to make one of those pushes that's unexpected and all of a sudden it's dunked. So I think it can go either way.
You want to talk unexpected?
Wow. Yeah, is it that splat roller?
No, it's actually the light Tetra Dualies making an appearance here.
Oh, you looked
That's
it up?
Sprinkler. Well, no, they're I see them.
Oh,
I see them here and now. The light Tetras with the Sprinkler and the Auto Bomb Rush going to be a path forward for Motomamis to hopefully be able to get a quick pop of that Bomb Rush. But they might not even need that right now. If this Booyah Bomb is able to connect with one or two players, so much damage, and follows it up with the third kill as well before getting traded out there by Mocha. Really, really important there from Mocha to get that kill, and especially that one too, not allowing the members of Motomamis to make that jump across and continue this push. Otherwise, it could have been dangerous territory within the first minute.
it absolutely could have. I love how you were like, could get 1 and then 2, 3 go by. Really, really nice job there. Absolutely love that. But Mocha doing some cleanup, like you said, and I think at this point, what Black Magic needs to kind of focus on right now, they don't have a ton of map control. There is a lot of green ink on this map, and that's going to make it very difficult for them to push into mid enough in order to even pick up or touch the Rainmaker, let alone push it any further than that. So they look like they're working at it, and then they unfortunately continue to go down. So a flank won't help. Okay. Oh, that wasn't a trade. I was like, that looked like a trade, but no.
Ended up being traded out, and it's going to leave Black Magic in a favorable position, especially getting that kill before the Booyah Bomb able to be up in the air. That could be really, really big for Black Magic, now able to focus on map control uncontested, and they're already starting to move this Rainmaker across. 1 down on both sides, now 2 down on both sides, just a little bit of a Nostradamus moment. But already making a very nice jump to get the Rainmaker to 44. They're carried on over top left by Edgar before getting taken out by Motomamis. This is a map that is not only going to be very challenging to take big leads on, but there's so many different paths that you can do it on. It's one of the reasons why I love Sturgeon Rainmaker. There's always options to run.
That's why I love it too. I think that's why I said it's like super surprising, because there's different ways that you can go all the time. What's also surprising is getting 3 down and basically having no one in the middle of the map ready to do anything, which helps for Motomamis' plan here as they begin to work forward and kind of pave the way. Mocha has something to say about it though, and is putting a stop to it, albeit a little slowly, and takes Pina out in the air. Really nice shot there too.
Yeah, and Yorshi coming in with that roller, really nice swings to either get at least one, but maybe even a double off of that. It does look like they know about the member beneath the bridge. Sunshine, unfortunately, getting taken out there by Mocha. But Edge is going to utilize this armor to allow for their team to push up a little bit more. That said, they haven't really done a whole lot with that armor. And I think this position of being underneath the bridge is not necessarily intentional, but it's something that is kind of being very detrimental. Only if Yorshi's able to find a pick, and brilliant maneuvering there by that Enzap to avoid getting caught off guard there.
Like, Latte stayed along a very long time. Stayed alive a very long time within that Booyah Bomb. Really nice job there, but not quite enough that they need to do. We are getting under that 1 minute mark. It looks like they are attempting, Motomamis is attempting to make this push, get them to lead here, but it's going to be pretty tough with the amount of pressure that's coming out from Black Magic on this right-hand side. All four members right there.
Yeah, they are, everyone in frame, and perhaps beckoning back to something we talked about in an earlier Rainmaker match. If the push along a path that you're trying for isn't working, you have to be able to make adjustments. It looks like they finally are, and it's going to work out for them, I think, as they're able to get a full white delayed, but able to move it on into 23. A great push there from Motomamis, identifying that all of the members of Black Magic were over-rotated on left. They brought the Rainmaker right. And that, now with 5 seconds left, should be the win.
Should be. Ooh, especially with all those auto bombs around there. Oh my gosh. Edgar, run! Not quite able to make it out alive. Edgar does go down to a couple of auto bombs, which brings us to a 2-2 now, Barry. 2-2.
It does. A 2-2. Very, very well done there from Motomamis. But also, I would say 4 minutes of that match, despite the KAs that we're seeing here at the end, I would have given the advantage to Black Magic. I think they played that open particularly well. Despite going down, they were able to make a very early stop to prevent any sort of large push being allowed. Pretty quickly counter with a strong push of their own. And they looked to be in a great position. I think it's just at the moment when we saw all four of them perched up on that top right area, Motomamis also identified that and were able to move the Rainmaker far away from that without having a lot of range on the side of Black Magic. Not able to contest that push very easily, and that was ultimately their downfall.
Yes, it was. I think it's all going to come down to this last one. Tower control.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Now, how are you feeling about your swish swish prediction?
I feel pretty good. Swish swish is all I'm going to say. But I think Motomamis just needed a minute in that second Clan Blitz game to kind of get their footing. But also, to be fair, Clan Blitz is one of the modes that most teams still dislike to play the most. Although I think it sort of evened out a little bit.
That's true. I think initially, I think we saw in that Clan Blitz match, Black Magic had a better open and a much better close. But in the middle, there was a good contest. And if we're going to look back at matches, we should also look back at that tower control match, where Motomamis did have a disconnect. It was a 3v4 loss after they had pushed it to 31, I believe. They looked really good on tower, and they were still putting up a fight for almost all 5 minutes of that match. I would expect to see something very similar here. The momentum's in their favor. It's going to be on Black Magic to respond.
It certainly is. We didn't get much change-ups either coming out at this time around from Motomamis, so I think they're probably feeling pretty good, but we did get a change from Black Magic, right? We lost the roller that we had earlier.
Lost the roller, and now we are back to that Tri-Slosher for the double armor. I don't hate that pick, especially since we've been seeing a lot of fragging coming out from Motomamis. Something to maybe sway the tides of some of these 1v1s for Black Magic. And already doing a pretty good job here with Yorchi pushing up to this plat and getting a Booyah Bomb. like they could have sat there for the entire duration of that Booyah Bomb, and no one would have been able to approach tower. Opts to use it early instead, and is going to continue putting pressure, getting a trade there onto Motomamis. A very fast start, but something that might now be coming to a close with Motomamis being able to find 2 picks and forcing another player to jump out.
They certainly are. This is going to be kind of tough for Black Magic to be able to take control right now. Motomamis is doing a nice job setting things up. They're painting in areas that they're going to need to be able to move forward. Pina working forward does get one over here. I think there was a little bit of assist on that other one there on the side. In my opinion, has moved pretty far forward considering the tower has a long way to go to get to where they were. I understand wanting to get the players down before they can move any further, but with players behind you, you have to be careful to watch on their team. Maybe it worked for them, not sure. Does look like we are in a 3v3 up situation right now as we get the rockets come out as well. But the tower is still resetting back to mid, so it's something that Motomamis needs to pay attention to as quickly as they can.
Yeah, as you were talking about Pina being all the way up in that position, aggressive position, there was a member of the 52 Gal on Black Magic being able to contest the tower, so it was a slow checkpoint break, but they might be in a position to do the exact opposite here for the second checkpoint, with almost no contest being able to come in here. They are instantly through that, and with an armor and a splash wall, being able to defend this tower a little bit further, they might be able to even get past, or at least up to this third checkpoint.
They certainly can. I think they're going to touch it at the very least. Oh my gosh, maybe even a little further because now they are all respawning on the side of Black Magic. A Booyah Bomb placed very, very timely right onto that final call in, and we got a couple of picks coming out. I love the work going on. That was a full wipe.
That was a full wipe, and it was just the junior Edgar there fighting for the tower, trying to prevent this knockout, but it is going to be the swish swish reverse sweep as you called it. Motomamis doing a brilliant job of taking this 5th map in a commanding fashion.
I'm very happy no one can see me at home right now because I was definitely just dabbing as if I were dabbing and sweeping at the same time. It's very embarrassing, but really exciting for Motomamis. Great job on that reverse sweep coming out. Coming back from that DC, exactly like we like to see within Splatoon. Really, really fun stuff. Black Magic played so well too.
They did.
So we can't discount them for anything as well.
No, not at all. I mean, taking 2 maps here, very, very well played by them, and truthfully, just a couple things go differently. It could have been all 5. If it was a play all 5, I could see this turning into a Black Magic 5-0. So they were very much in all these maps. Just at the very end there for tower control, I think on a map that snowballs so heavily like Inkblot, very easy to get panicked and lose your composure a little bit. A lot of players kind of flooding out one at a time rather than in groups. And Motomamis doing a brilliant job of picking them off as they were exiting spawn, able to push it all the way to the knockout.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly what we like to see for sure. So it has been so much fun to be able to watch them all as well.
Absolutely, and it's always a pleasure to be joining you in commentary as well. It makes the viewing so much more fun.
You too. It has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much, Barry. Thank you to IPL staff and Swim or Sink to allow us to come on today. I have had so much fun. Sometimes they say, tell the people where they can find me. You can't. I'm really not online a whole lot. But where you can find me is this Saturday on Spawn Points, Think Before You Ink, where I will be on the mic once again. And Barry, where can the good people find you, where you actually have an internet presence?
Well, they can find me behind the scenes of Think Before You Ink on Saturday. Not that you can really see behind the scenes all that well, but if you wanted to see me a little bit better, you can find me on Twitter at the Barry with 4 Ys, as you see on the screen right there, or on Twitch at the Barry with just 1 Y.
Very nice. Single Y Barry. Love it. So awesome. Well, thank you so much, Barry, for joining me. I had an absolute blast with you. Always a pleasure. Thank you, IPL. And I think we're going to go ahead and pass it on off to Rissa and Sleeves McFly.
Yeah, so definitely stay tuned for this semifinals and grand finals coming up here in the Great White Bracket on Swimmer Sync 64. We'll be right back.
And just like that, we did a really fast commentator swap, and we are back on the stream. Hello, everyone watching SOS 64. My name is Rissa, and I'm actually joined here by my friend Sleeves McFly. Sleeves, how are you doing tonight?
Rissa, I am doing great. Head empty, only full of Splatoon. I'm ready to see all of the action tonight. It's been great. It's been great seeing the stream so far, and I'm happy to be here.
Yes, me too. I know that feeling of like head empty, just sitting down watching Splatoon, you know, getting a grip for what's going on in the bracket and on the stream, and just like zoning in on what's happening in the game. So I feel the exact same way right now.
Yeah, and you know, I think that just that last set was just incredible to watch. The reverse sweep coming in. I was on the edge of my seat. I'm hoping that we get to commentate stuff even half as exciting as that, but I know it's going to be twice as exciting because we've got teams with great names coming up right now.
I know, I was looking at these names. So we see the teams here on the stream for everyone to see. So of course we have Octostamp Fanclub versus No Stingrays. Great names to start out and come out with for pickup names. Love that. And on each team, so we have Octostamp Fanclub is Seven Devons, Sovlis, Prosper, and Tenna, which I'm familiar with quite a few of those players. And then on No Stingrays, we have Go Easy on Me, Enjoy the Ray, and
Link,
yep.
and I don't know how to say that. Bean Pellier?
Yeah, that would be my guess.
I think it's Bean Pellier is what I'm gonna say. I hope they're okay with us calling them Bean, because that's the easiest way that I'm gonna be able to refer to them in quick time.
Don't worry, same for me. From now on, they will be known as Bean.
So what do you know about these two teams as we wait for this match to get started here pretty soon?
Looking at, so Octostamp Fan Club, I know a few, like I know Prosper and Tenta. Tenta is a support player that I know of. Prosper, I've seen Prosper play Nautilus and extremely well. I know that they also do great with other Slayer weapons. So looking at that, I mean, I think they're going to be a decently strong pickup, and it definitely proves true if they've gotten this far in the bracket. The other team, though, you know, I am not too familiar with, as we can see that they have names, you know, Go Easy on Me, Enjoy the Ray. I would love to know who those players are.
I have a prediction.
Okay, tell me.
Enjoy the Ray, CJet player.
Honestly,
I
I
think
agree.
that's a good prediction.
I think that's a very good prediction. And honestly, if it's not true, I might be slightly disappointed because when I think of Stingray, I automatically think of Sea-Jet.
Sea-Jet's always the only right answer, actually. So if you're thinking anything else, I think that it's gonna be, it's obviously that.
Yeah, and with the whole entire team name is no Stingrays. It's set up perfectly for them to have a Sea-Jet, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna be hopping in here pretty soon and seeing. We can see that our map list is gonna be starting here on Clamblitz Piranha Pit. How are you feeling about that?
Clamblitz Piranha Pit, I think this is going to be a really good starting map. And remember, everyone watching, this is going to be a best of 5 as we see 5 maps on the screen here. Also predetermined, so we get to see ahead of time what maps and modes these teams are going to play. Starting out on Clamblitz Piranha Pit, I think this is a great way to start out because it's such an open map. No matter what the mode is, it's such an open map where you can really see how teams coordinate together and how the weapons that they use pair up together. I think it's a really good starting point. What do you think, Sleeves?
I love Piranha Pit for most modes. I think one of the best things about Pit for clams and anything that's not Rainmaker, because Rainmaker operates a little bit differently, is a little bit of that knowledge check of how are you leaving spawn, right? I think the way that you leave spawn initially in this game kind of says a lot about how prepared you are to kind of run into this game. Especially in those contested moments, maybe your team got half wiped or even full wiped. How are you trying to recover? How are you trying to come back out of spawn? Are you only using the belt? Are you using all of the directions? Because I think this is one of those maps where you've got a lot of options to come out, and so if you're not assessing the situation and choosing the right ones, I think it can be really devastating. So I'm hoping to not see our teams in that situation. But like you said, really open, not a whole lot of space to sneak around, so you've gotta face the opponents head on and, take some turf, frag out a little bit, throw some clams, pass some clams. So yeah.
You are so right about that. How these teams open up or back up to defend, it can really, really shine through if something does go wrong and, you get 2 members down and suddenly you're 3 members down and 4 members down. It can really, really snowball here, and if you don't play your openings correctly or your defense correctly, I mean, it can just totally fall out underneath you. I think that really stands out true for Clam Blitz and Splat Zones on Piranha Pit too. So the teams are ready, and we are going to be going into the match, and I am very ready to see a Stingray weapon.
Oh, it's that moment of truth right now, Rissa. If we don't see a Stingray weapon, specifically from what was the name? I already forgot the name. Was it Get Ready for the Ray? I don't remember what it was. Oh, that player's not in. But what we actually see is a V-Jet on the blue team over here, which is definitely going to be not a ray weapon, but a lot of missiles coming out from that player, and so we're gonna see what's gonna be happening. Shoot, though, sending out that ray super early, directly at the other team, and just trying to open up some space for their team to push forward and make something happen.
Using that Stingray instantly paired with Link's missiles, I think that was a really, really strong start to have missiles and Ray instantly like that. And that allowed them to get picks right away. But as we see at the top of the score here, both teams essentially have 2 members down and now 3 members down on the green team as blue here is getting ready to get a push going. They have a ball ready, they have 18 clams, and they are getting their specials to get a push going.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Octostamp fan club shooting out those missiles, getting ready to push in, trying to find the space to safely throw that clam in. They're right here up on it, and they're definitely going to make that score.
Penta there scoring that power clam that they did have, and with a few follow-up clams, this is looking really, really good for Octostamp Fan Club. I mean, they are continuing to get members of No Stingrays down. We see Prosper on that Nautilus that I was talking about a little bit earlier too, just spacing out this area paired with their teammates and just doing a really good job at recognizing when they need to fall back, when they need to hold mid, and you can see them doing that beautifully here.
Absolutely, you can tell that Prosper really knows what they're doing, just kind of holding that space, not getting too aggressive, especially on a Nautilus, which is a weapon that can easily shred people at close range, but, you know, taking their time, waiting for their team to come back and support. The Inkjet coming out right now and just again, Octostamp Fan Club just taking control, taking their space, and doing everything that they can to just push this advantage here.
Octostamp Fan Club did such a good job. They backed up. They got clams. I mean, they had 22 clams. They're going ahead and scoring 10 of those clams right now to open up the basket. And you can see they're just trying to do everything they can to just hold areas, and they're doing that so well. I mean, it's making it so difficult for No Stingrays to even figure out how to get back into mid. No Stingrays right now, just constantly trying to figure out how to regroup and get into mid. You see Missiles, Stingray, and Armor come out, and this looks like it might be the moment they've been waiting for with 2 members down of Octostamp Fan Club.
Yeah, they're pushing in. They're right here on this bridge here, right here on this belt. Oh, but Octostamp Fan Club coming back in and punishing them for pushing up just a little too quickly. Really good awareness on where they needed to be, and yeah, No Stingrays is just going to be pushed back once again.
Stingrays once again backed up in their spawn, trying to figure out how to stop this force that Octostamp Fan Club has going on. Finally, they do get Prosper down on that Nautilus, which is a really good pick for No Stingrays. And now they did get another member down on Octostamp Fan Club, so they did a really good job there at backing up and regrouping to figure out how to get the other team out of their spawn. Now they just need to figure out how to get this mid space, maybe get some clams and get a pick. And just like that, Bean gets a pick right as I said that. So that is perfect, and now they have a complete wipe. This is the moment they've been waiting for.
Oh my gosh, Bean just schmoovin' all over the map right now, doing everything that they possibly can to open up everything for their team. No Stingrays coming in, taking the lead. Bean still out here, making sure that they can have as much of an advantage as possible, getting one pick, another assist, gonna go score some more clams for the team, but the basket does close just right when they're about to come back in.
Bean just right there as the basket closed, but guess what? They still are holding this area. This is such great area holding. I mean, they have Bean here getting this jump in that allowed their teammate to jump in with the power clam also, and now they're just continuing to hold this area. They didn't necessarily get any other clams in, but the longer that they hold this area and just act a nuisance over here, the harder it's going to be for Octostamp to figure out how to get back into mid. So we do have 40 seconds remaining of this match, and it's going to be up to Octostamp Fan Club here to get into mid and get their specials ready for a push so they can score to get the lead.
And, you know, the thing I really like about watching these kinds of games of Splatoon, like, Octostamp Fan Club came out here just looking incredibly dominant, but it only took one moment of an opening for No Stingrays to take the lead and then just lose it very quickly there as Octostamp Fan Club finishes off the game getting the knockout.
That was so back and forth. Oh my gosh, what an opening match to start out on. And I think, you know, like we were highlighting earlier, Piranha Pit on Clan Blitz, I mean, it really showed that both of these teams are doing what they can do together and how they can work together. And I mean, both teams had really strong highlighting moments there in that starting match.
Oh, absolutely. I think that, you know, I think No Stingrays, they came out of the gate strong. They kind of backed up and had a little bit of a hard time getting their footing, but once they did, Bean was opening up so much space for them. They kind of popped off a little bit and taking the lead down from 42 all the way down to 29, and it looked, honestly, it looked kind of bad for Octostamp Fan Club, but they came back just as strong and just made it happen. I really love seeing like all of the spiritedness coming from both of these teams, because I was on the edge of my seat and got so much whiplash just from how much those players were moving too.
I know, it went back and forth like literally in the snap of a finger. It just, one team or the other just was instantly doing something, and it took a little while for No Stingrays to get their footing going, but once they did, I mean, they really had their footing going and they had their momentum going there. It was just that following push that came out from Octostamp Fan Club that just had that little bit of extra oomph to it, and they had the clams too, which is really important for Clam Blitz, because sometimes you can start a push and not have the clams to follow up, but that was really important for Octostamp there to get the lead. They actually followed through and had the clams to follow up to get the lead.
You know what? It's always really great to go up 1-0 in the first game of a set like this. But the way that game went, if I was Octostamp Fan Club, I don't know if I would be getting that same kind of boost of confidence from winning game 1. Not because like they did incredible, don't get me wrong, but just the opposition was also so strong, and so I think that both of these teams know that they're kind of in for a bloodbath moving here into Wahoo zones.
That's a very good point. You have to know if a team can come out with a push like that right in the middle of that, okay, we have to keep our eye on this team, because anything can happen if that happened in game 1. So they definitely have to have their eye on the other team. And we are going to go ahead and go into game 2 here. So both teams coming out with a little bit of different weapon switch up. Go Easy on Me playing the machine, and then on the other side for Octostamp Fan Club actually coming out with a mini and an Explosher. Different weapons coming out here.
You know, it seems like a big change. Not too much on the Mini to the Nautilus, but it seems like a little bit of a big change putting the Explo there. But I think on a zone like this, where everything's just kind of centered around the middle, there's not too many places that you can stand with the Explo that you're not going to be hitting the zone. And I think that an Explo, you know, from my own experience playing this game, it feels like it paints like half of a zone on this map when you just hit one shot onto the zone. So I don't necessarily disagree with this option here.
That's a really good point. You can just literally just kind of, it's a really good weapon to stagger the zone and have the time to stagger the zone. And just act a nuisance and get chip damage. And as long as you're in a safe position, you can definitely do that with the Explo. So as the teams are coming out here, it's essentially a 2v2 right now, but the zone is still in the favor of no Stingrays, as they're just continuing to hold the zone. Octostamp Fan Club is doing everything they can to slowly push up, make sure that none of them go down, and get their specials so that with that way they can securely get the zone.
And you can see Go-O here just standing directly under the zone, just making so much of a difference, just making it so that no Stingrays has to keep painting it. They have the baller ready for whenever they want to push in with their team. They're actually going to opt to pop it right now. Not popping it in the zone, but using it to survive, which is like a really great way to use the baller from the Explosher, and just still being such a nuisance to Link right there in that corner. Not taking the zone yet, and so they're going to have to really push hard to get this zone here if they don't want to get knocked out, and that's exactly what they end up doing.
Yeah, Go here doing a really good job at staying alive and making sure they pushed up right in the instant that they needed to get the zone. So the zone has been capped once now by Octostamp Fan Club, and that's what they needed, because they gave those 56 penalty points over to no Stingray. So now they just have to get in a position where they can try and figure out how to get in the zone and how to get these picks on Octostamp Fan Club.
What I've been noticing though is that no Stingrays isn't getting staggered in their spawns. They're not getting wiped. If they do have a player go down, it's usually just one player at a time, every so often two, like we see right now. But they're holding a really dominant position over the map. I think this is the first time that Octostamp has actually been able to push forward so hard and push them all the way back to their spawn. But you see those Stingrays coming out from that Seajet that we were talking about earlier, just making a really, really big difference here on this map, and that splashdown actually being really, really strong for them off of the machine.
Machine, yeah, using that splashdown to stall out the zone, and it did work out there for a moment, but okay, it was just that machine up for a moment. Two members go down there, and the zone is literally stalled half and half right now. We're seeing Go coming up here trying to just recognizing, hey, there's no one at the zone. I can just plane over this, and that's exactly what they did. So now with only 9 penalty points, Octostamp Fan Club is looking like they're in a pretty good position, but they do have to be careful as these specials are starting to come out from no Stingrays, and they are already getting picks on Octostamp Fan Club.
Link getting that one pick, you know, the machine pushing up right here on the mini, backing up when they realize that they're not in a favorable position. Now they're in between two players, they have some help, get the splash down, but not the splash down, but the splash-o-matic down, and just keep pushing that advantage, making sure that their penalty is almost down, and I think we're gonna see a knockout here if Octostamp can't do something to push forward a little bit faster.
Unfortunately, one member of Octostamp going down, that was the Explo, who has so much paint effectiveness for their team, and just like that, Sov here just doing everything they can as that ends up to paint the zone. That came out so clutch for them because they had their Explo down, who was doing so good at helping them paint. I mean, that was so clutch of that end zap to be able to get up to the zone and give those penalty points over to no Stingrays. So now it's unfortunate though for Octostamp, as now they are left in this position once again where they have to figure out how to get in the zone in the last 30 seconds.
I told you it would be a bloodbath here. There's players going down left and right. There's zones getting painted back and forth. And honestly, I don't know what's going to happen. I know that it's 55-5, but I do think it could be anyone's game. We just see Octostamp getting the zone once again, using that baller to neutralize it. But, you know, the missiles coming back in and just trying to cap the zone. It's so difficult to see what's going to happen here.
It is. Everything is happening all at once. All these specials coming out. There's only 5 seconds left here. One member goes down on the side of no Stingrays. It's that machine that does go down. Unfortunately, Prosper here going down as well on that mini. And just like that, with those final picks that happened there at the end, no Stingrays is able to come behind anyone who was there and just paint over the zone and cap it just like that in right at the end. And that was all they needed to secure that win for this game.
It was so hard to track what was going on. There was a baller on the zone, and then there was a stingray on the zone, and then there was missiles on the zone, and then there was a bomb rush on the zone. There was everything that could possibly flip the zone in that moment was flipping that zone in that moment. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the zone coin flip like 7 times right there just because of how much was happening.
I know, it felt like multiple times when I was trying to, you know, get a gauge for what was going on there. The zone was literally just stalled out in half. That felt like it kept happening when I was trying to, you know, just get a grasp for what was going. And then all of a sudden all these specials would come out and it was just very chaotic. And you were totally right. It was a bloodbath of a match.
Yeah, so we're going to see something a little bit different here, which is kind of a straight line here at Black Belly Rainmaker. If I were to say one of my, you know, Black Belly's a map that I love how it looks. Not as in love with how it plays, but here on Rainmaker, I think it's one of the more playable modes on this map for sure.
Definitely something that is more competitive and playable for Black Belly. Of course, the other mode being zones, that is good for being competitive on this map. Rainmaker Black Belly though, whew, it's a journey, I'll say that. And if I'm thinking of a team called No Stingrays, this is one of the maps I would think of where you absolutely have to have a Stingray.
Yeah, and you know, the fact that they have a question mark in their name, No Stingrays, it seems like they're trying to be a little bit deceptive for this exact moment. So let's see what's going to happen here. We see that mini come out, and we do see a Stingray on the side of No Stingrays. So I think we can safely say that both teams will be using a Stingray.
There are definitely not... Wait, let me think. There's definitely not no Stingrays here, as instantly we see a Stingray come out from no Stingrays. Speaking of, and we see Go here doing everything they can to paint around to get their opening Stingray. Their Stingray comes out a little bit after one member of their team goes down, but it's just enough to stall out this other, the Slosher and everyone from No Stingrays to come in. And you can see that No Stingrays, oh my gosh, instantly grabbing the Rainmaker and getting 2 members down of the other team.
Yeah, Link just kind of going in there with the Slosher, just using that big giant hitbox that just falls on top of you, and taking out 2 people, making a really good path to get an 18-point lead on the side of No Stingrays just to start off this match. I wonder, how do you think that Octostamp Fanclub is going to kind of try to respond to this?
That is a really good question. I mean, you can see that they're doing everything they can to paint around here. Prosper doing everything they can to get their missiles ready, and they do have a Stingray at the ready too. You can see they're just letting the Rainmaker reset. We're seeing missiles come out here from Prosper. Hopefully those missiles can allow them to push into mid, but with Link here pushing up and getting a pick on Prosper, I mean, that is going to hinder their plans to being able to get into mid and get the Rainmaker.
Link just walking up and saying, "You think this is your ramp? No, I don't think so. This belongs to me, and you're going to have to respect it." Jumping out, making sure that they don't stay in danger if they don't need to be, and just getting another pick as they fall down into the jump. Link is just kind of popping off right now.
Yeah, right now it's Link's world and we're all just living in it. I mean, Link doing everything they can, pushing up, getting picks, but then also jumping back when they need to. And the Rainmaker is just sitting here being guarded right now completely by No Stingrays. No Stingrays knows that they have such a strong lead and they know that, hey, we don't need to jump in and feed in and die. Like, we literally can just stand here and guard the Rainmaker. And that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, you know what? Knockouts are cool, Rissa, but what's cooler is just winning the game even though you didn't need it. So I think that their plan here, it was working out really well. As soon as they pick up the Rainmaker, Go-O coming in with the Stingray, getting the Rainmaker down, and now trying to make a counter push of their own. But we see Link right behind them, and they're going to need to run. I don't know if Link is still alive. They're going to need to make something happen here because Link has been kind of the bane of their existence this entire match.
Really has, especially coming out with that burst bomb rush there. As soon as I saw that go off at the top, I was like, oh no, this is it. That definitely helped their teammates stop the Rainmaker there. And now with one member down, 2 members down now on Octostamp Fanclub. I mean, 3 members down. Speak to the devil. This is looking so good for No Stingrays as they once again are letting the Rainmaker reset. I mean, they know that they have all this map control and the lead. They really don't need to push in more than they necessarily need to.
Go easy on me, putting out those missiles just before going down, picking up the Rainmaker, and going right over here into this, this hilly section of the map, making that safe push, just knowing that there's not a whole lot that the other team can do, and almost getting that knockout, but being splatted right there by the mini just in time.
Just in time, Octostamp doing what they need to try and make sure that they get in some type of position to get the Rainmaker in their possession or at least get the Rainmaker into mid. I mean, they are having such a difficult time just even getting into mid. The defense right now from No Stingrays is so beautiful. And I love the way that even if they have 1 member, 2 members go down, they do a really good job at regrouping. And once again, kind of a stalemate in mid as we're seeing both teams taking fights here and trying to be the team that takes over mid.
I mean, mid is kind of the name of the game when it comes to Splatoon, right? I think that the team that takes mid and has control over mid oftentimes, not every time, but oftentimes has a pretty good advantage. And so I think that both of these teams realize that and are trying to keep mid as clean as possible, at least clean in their color. But oh my gosh, Sav just dodging everything that Link is trying to throw at them, but Link just showing us why they have been feeling themselves so hard in this game because they don't let anything get past them. I honestly don't know what I would be doing in this situation playing against the Slosher because it's just been everywhere. Everywhere you don't need it to be, especially.
Totally. Link is just behind you, in mid, in front of you, just everywhere. Link is being exactly where they need to be. And right now, with only 3 seconds left of this match here, Go using this Stingray to help their teammates not stop, get the Rainmaker, and with a complete wipe on No Stingrays, Go here is going to go ahead and pick up the Rainmaker, and they have to play this so carefully as we are in overtime. If they want to be able to dunk this Rainmaker and win, they need to get this to 0.
Nobody's watching the flank on the left side of Go, but I think that they have everybody occupied right up front. I would be a little bit scared if I was them about that left side, but they almost make it, but they get pushed back right there at the end. So, No Stingrays doing their best, and, it kind of paid off for them.
It really did. Something about that map and mode together, it felt like No Stingrays just completely knew how to play that. I don't know if that was something that they, members of that team are very comfortable on or they've previously played it, but they had a lot of their game awareness and just knowing like when to push up and when to hold mid and just making sure that they didn't overexert themselves was really good for them in that match.
Absolutely, and I mean, I just want to gas up Link one more time. I know we did plenty of it that last game, but seeing them come out of that game with 15 KA and in a tournament match, no less, I think that it's always it's not the easiest to get a high KA in kind of like these more organized kinds of play styles, but they were just everywhere, getting every kill on the Rainmaker, getting every kill on anyone near the Rainmaker, saying, mid's mine, your spawn is mine, our spawn is mine, this whole map is mine, and I think that the rest of No Stingray is just saying, yeah, just go have fun, you know, let the dog off the leash and the dog just goes wild, you know what I mean? It was just so fun to watch.
That's such a good analogy. I mean, just having Link just everywhere, and almost that allowed their teammates to be able to set up around them. You know, they constantly had stingrays when they needed to. I mean, their teammates were doing a great job at painting around, following up where Link was, adding that aggression, so they were able to just safely paint around the map and keep all of that mid control. And it was just like a well-oiled machine, it felt like, just all around. Everything they were doing together paid off very beautifully.
What do you think that Octostamp fan club has to do to kind of respond here at this tower control anchovy games? What do you think needs to happen, because they're playing from behind now. They're facing a I guess my series started going off. Sorry about that. They're facing losing the set here, so they need to do something if they want to come back and win it.
I'm wondering if, maybe they need to have. Okay, this is my guess. I'm wondering if Prosper is going to come back and play on the Nautilus, especially since this is. Okay.
But yeah.
Thank you, Prosper. That happened right as I said it. I mean, this stage especially, tower control on Anchovy, the inkjets here can be so detrimental and so good. So I think that's a really good pick for Prosper to be back on the Nautilus for this. And then on the other side, actually, I'm seeing two sloshers, a machine and a regular slosher. So I like that. I love the weapon switch up that we're seeing.
Is that slosher machine? Is that machine the one with the stingray? The stingray that we actually just saw come out from No Stingrays?
Yes, it is.
All right, I'm starting to think that they're lying to us here, Issa. I definitely think that there's some stingrays about.
I think they've made it a goal for them to have a stingray no matter what, even if it's the machine stingray. They are making it happen, and they are dedicated to it.
You know, V machine is not one that I see incredibly often, but when I do see it and I see someone using it to their advantage, even, I think that's like really impressive. Prosper pushing up here on this fan, wanting to make sure that they can control the space, not wanting to overextend while their teammates are trying to push that checkpoint. The Stingray coming out onto the tower while Octostamp Fan Club is losing it, but they will probably come back here and try to grab that tower soon enough, unless Link just goes forward and just missiles everybody from spawn.
Link just missiling right away here, and their teammates were actually able to push up through those missiles. That's exactly how you want to play missiles. Use the missiles and then just push up through them, and we saw that happen beautifully there because essentially two members have been down now on the side of Octostamp Fan Club, and that is just allowing No Stingrays to safely push the tower and get these positions that they need to hold and make it that much harder for Octostamp to be able to even get to the tower right now.
Yeah, I mean, I really like the use of that offensive missile that they keep using because, you know, when you're on defense and you're throwing your missiles, you're oftentimes waiting to try to see if you can displace players, seeing if you can take up space, seeing if you can push back into mid. But that offensive missile was, I don't care where you're coming from. We're going to find you, we're going to hunt you down, and you're not going to be able to push back and make this a neutral game anymore. Octostamp Fan Club saying, you know what, commentator, you can stop counting us out because we're actually going to push back into mid. I promise you. They have two players down, but I think we're going to see a really nice push from them in just a second if they can get coordinated.
They are doing their best here to, you can see, stay back and make sure that they don't push in too much. And unfortunately, Prosper there getting called out here by Link. And with
Did
their
Link go down?
Oh, no. Link did go
finally. Oh, I didn't know what happened. The camera switched right when it was supposed to happen, so I was confused. I'm sorry.
Yeah, getting Link down like that was really detrimental for Octostamp Fan Club because with them being such a nuisance, I mean, they needed to make sure that they got Link down, and that's exactly what they did.
Sovlis over here popping their armor, trying to keep mid as clean as possible for their team. Getting pushed on by the machine, but the inkjet coming to save them a little bit, but the missiles taking out the inkjet. These missiles on the side of No Stingrays have been absolutely just decimating Octostamp Fan Club. They've just had such a hard time pushing through them.
Missiles, I love how you highlighted about them being, offensive missiles too. That way they can just push in and continue. I mean, as we see missiles come out again, they're constantly coming out here from no stingrays, and it's just making it so difficult for Octostamp to be able to even get in a position to get to the tower. We can see they're doing everything they can to get these picks that they need. They do have 2 members of no stingrays down right now, and they're doing everything they can to try and stop these jumps. But I mean, these jumps just keep coming in, and no stingrays is not holding down right now for letting out this streak.
Yeah, I mean, this last checkpoint is really the only one that matters here. I mean, if they get past this last checkpoint, the game might as well be over, because I don't really feel like there's any distance between the last checkpoint and the knockout. So, Octostamp Fanclub doing everything they possibly can to get all of the picks that they need to and not let that tower advance another inch. 25 is a lead that you could potentially get, but any further than that, and I think that you're kind of out of the game, as we only have 27 seconds left here in this match.
20 seconds now left of this match, and with the machine going down on the side of no stingrays, maybe this is the start of something for Octostamp to be able to get in a position to get into mid, to get to the tower. You can see that they do have 2 specials at the ready, and they are just making sure that they, go around all these corners, make sure no one is sharking, make sure there's no links hiding around these corners.
But losing the tower.
Yeah, they were doing everything perfectly there to safely get to the tower, but someone just jumping onto the tower on no stingrays just took the game like that, and no stingrays will be moving on to grand finals.
Octostamp Fanclub probably feeling a little bit upset about that, but they definitely played a really good game. They were pushed back into their spawn a good amount of the time here, but honestly, I think that the way that they kind of slowly and methodically there at the end didn't rush towards the tower, didn't just like throw themselves at the enemy and feed. I think that they did the right thing. I just don't think that the clock was on their side there at the very end.
I don't think so either. You could see they were pushing up together. They weren't going down. They had specials ready, and those are all things that are so important when you are trying to get to objective. And they were totally playing that all correctly, but unfortunately with the timer going out just like that, ending the game, they weren't able to get to the tower in time, and that was just their downfall.
Can definitely see a universe in which Octostamp Fanclub comes back and actually pushes that tower to 24. I just think it would have taken just a little bit more time, but I'm really proud of both of the teams who just played here. They both put on a really great show, really great first set for us to commentate, and I'm really excited to see what's coming up next.
I'm really excited to see too, and as I look at the bracket here, let me go ahead and just refresh this. Okay, so having refreshed the bracket here on my side, I see that actually on the other side of the bracket, it was Revenant versus Motomamis, and Motomamis actually won that set 3-1, so the next set that we get to see on stream and is grand finals is going to be No Stingrays versus Motomamis.
And we saw how good Motomamis was playing in their set that was streamed just before you and I came on the mic. So I think I'm really excited to see all of these players in the same lobby together, just duking it out, trying to see who comes out on top.
On the side of Motomamis, when I first was watching the set before you and I got on stream, I am familiar with the player Lex, who is a really, really good 52 player. And I saw their name and I was like, wait, is that the Lex that I'm thinking of? And it is. So anytime I see Lex on a pickup, you know that they're going to do good. And we can see that exactly happening as they were able to get to grand finals. So this is going to be a really good grand final set for us to watch.
I am so excited. What are we gonna be doing here first? I know that the maps are not up on screen quite yet, but are you familiar with what we're gonna be going into next?
Okay, the from above showed us what we are going into next here. So we are going to be seeing, actually, remember everyone watching at home, so this is a best of 7 now that we are going into grand finals here. So first game that we do get to watch is going to be Splat Zones on the Reef.
Splat Zones on the Reef, huh? Okay. A nice little 2-zone map that basically still feels like a 1-zone map just because the zones are so close to each other. Rissa, I've got a confession. I think the Reef might be my favorite map in Splatoon 2.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. On all modes or just Splat Zones?
So the reason why I think it's my favorite map in Splatoon 2, even though it's not the best, like, it's not the most fun to play always, but I think it's the most playable. You know, I feel the least bad losing on this map in any mode. Like, no mode feels like cheesy to me.
Okay, I can totally see that. I mean, like, if you think about it, there is a lot of work that I feel like goes into playing on this map. I mean, there's multiple flanks you have to watch. There's the bridge. There's someone could be sharking one of the lampposts or underneath in the zone when you think you're safely painting zone. There's so much that could be happening, and that's a really good way to look at it, as there's all these elements that you really have to be watching, and it's really not straightforward, no matter what the mode is.
Yes, and also, getting griefed by the tree when you're trying to inkjet is probably my most favorite thing about this map too. Have you ever gotten griefed by the tree trying to inkjet here?
I haven't. As a non-inkjet player, I have not had that happen to me. Have you?
Plenty of times, yes. It's actually, I actually think that there was like this a set not too long ago where I think FT Win, I don't remember who it was, but someone on FT Win was inkjetting and they got griefed by the tree. They had a perfect shot on their enemy and they turned just a tad bit and the entire shot went into the tree. The tree is not anyone's friend unless you're getting inkjet near that, so just be careful. Anyone inkjetting. That's my one tip for the match. If any of our players are listening to us, which why would they be? They should be comping. Don't inkjet near the tree.
You know, I think I do remember that, and I remember seeing the tree like meme all over Twitter. I don't remember if it was this stage or not, but I remember something happening with a tree and a high-level match. So
Yeah.
Note to self: don't be by the tree if I'm inkjetting. Got it.
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. But speaking of inkjet, we actually see one coming out on the side of Motomamis here with Balto right there on the inkjet. So hopefully they stay away from the tree as both teams rush over towards the zone, while Azuna is actually going to be painting up for an armor, it looks like.
Azuna trying to paint up for armor, but I mean, with the aggression coming out right now from the other team, it's looking like it's going to be difficult to even get in a position to start out and get specials to start out this match. So no stingrays, just starting out very dominantly, getting that bridge control instantly, getting picks and getting the zone. You can see they're already pushed up 2 into the other team's streak.
Absolutely. Balto actually inkjetting safely away from the tree, getting 1 pick, going back to their recall, probably pretty happy with that as they go forward and try to paint the zone for their team. Getting another pick on the splat bomb, just staying right up here on the bridge, staying as safe as possible while they try to neutralize these zones, waiting for some support, but gets splatted in the process.
Balto there. I love that Balto was trying to at least stall the zone because it was kind of essentially a 1v1, but the awareness of no stingrays to recognize that they could safely jump to their team and then just help get the final pick on Balto there was really, really good for no stingrays and allowed them to recap the zone and get their points down all the way to 19. But Pina here pushing up with their teammates, 3 members now essentially down on no stingrays. This is exactly what Moto needed to be able to get the zone, and now they are setting up in positions here to safely defend the zone.
I love seeing this play from Pina right here. I love Rapid Blasters. I love seeing the Rapid Blasters play. Gets pushed up on, doesn't back up so quiet as soon as they needed to, but really holding that space down for their team as No Stingrays was definitely having a hard time pushing in, but now asserting their dominance once again right here in mid, trying to paint up their area, trying to paint up the bridge. We're gonna see a missile come out here soon, I'm pretty sure. They definitely pop the missiles and shoot over here right on the vanilla H3 actually was something I was gonna say. I don't ever see anybody play this weapon.
I hardly do ever in comp. Sometimes, you'll see it in scrims every now and then, but never in a grand finals of a tournament. So that is a really interesting pick and definitely something to highlight.
Yeah, I usually see the H3D, which I think is an incredible weapon, but this one, it feels, like a lot of people like to agree that you don't get as much bang for your buck on this as you would with, like, I don't know, like a VDS or something along those lines, but I mean, making it work over here on the side of no stingrays. Link coming in and trying to frag the same way that they were doing last set, but getting taken out there as the zones are still neutral.
Zone still neutral, and with only one member left up on the side of no stingrays, that has allowed Motomamis to safely cap the zone. And Motomamis has a really, really low penalty right now. They also got Link down, so that is just staggering no stingrays even more. No stingrays has to regroup, get their specials. They still do have the lead, but with no penalty points, they have to make sure that they push in here with specials very safely.
As soon as they do, though, Azuna popping that ink armor, making sure that their team is protected and ready to fight anything that's coming their way. Double teaming on Link. Link is down, I believe, and Motomamis just still holding onto the zones as Azuna is in a 1v, not a 1v3, a 3v1 on the zone against no stingrays.
This is exactly what Motomamis needed, as they now officially have the zone and the lead, and Link here doing everything they can to come in and try and stall the zone. They did get 2 picks, and they tried to use that burst rush to, stall out the zone even more. It didn't necessarily work for them individually, but their teammates were able to follow up behind them, so that stall worked out really well, and they were able to cap the zone and now give 60 penalty points over to Motomamis. So we're down to the last 40 seconds of this match. Anything can happen.
Anything is possible, and I think these teams are close enough in their points that we can see a shift in the leadership here, especially while no stingrays is holding the bridge up top here, just not pushing anything too hard, avoiding the inkjet, and just not letting that zone get painted. They're about to start counting down in just a quick second here, and if nothing is done about this, they might just take the lead.
They tried everything they could to stall and keep the zone, keep that bridge, but with the complete rush of players coming out from Moto, they got taken out there, and the zone has flipped over to Moto's side. Moto has been such a good job at getting the kills that they needed here right at the end, because that allowed them to just safely recap the zone. And just the way it felt like a rush of players just rushed the bridge there and just got 2 members down of no stingrays. That was really, really good for Motomamis.
Yeah, sometimes in the game you've just got to know when to be incredibly aggressive on your enemies, and I think that Motomamis just recognized, like, hey, if we don't do something right now, we're gonna lose, so let's gamble it all away. We're already about to lose. Why don't we do something to make sure that we win? And they did. They rushed. They got 2 players down and then just held that zone.
That was really good awareness to be able to do that too. Just recognizing that, hey, the other team really has to do everything they can to defend right now. Hey, let's just rush them. And it worked out really well for them because they didn't stagger it. They all just rushed in a wave, and it played out really nicely for them.
So we're going to be going over here into Rainmaker at Starfish main stage. Starfish main stage reminding me of my musical days. I was a pop star once in a while. But actually, I really like seeing how teams play this map. I know I keep talking about pathing and flank routes and how you open and everything like that, but I don't know, this map for me, the way that you use height and the way that you play against height, I think says a lot about how you're gonna fare against whatever comp people can come up with, because this level, more than a lot that aren't Mori Tower, has a lot of elevation, but usable elevation that doesn't feel quite unfair, but it can feel really oppressive if you're not taking care of it properly.
That is a really good point. You have to think about, each side has their, as the term is, their attics. Flanks can happen from the attics if you're not paying attention. Each team's snipe area. There's multiple Rainmaker paths, and if one of them is that snipe area, and if you aren't watching that on the defense, you can get rushed down really easily. The other team can just rush the Rainmaker through that path. And there's, of course, when the other one team is pushing the Rainmaker, there's multiple areas on the left and right side of the map too that are a lot higher. And if you aren't watching and recognizing that someone is sharking those areas, it can be really, really dangerous.
Yeah, sharking on this map is absolutely insane, and there's so many just corners that you have to just watch yourself. You have to throw bombs, just to make sure that you're not gonna run into somebody who's just gonna pop out of the ink and just demolish you on sight. So let's see what we have coming on from these teams. We have a really similar comp coming from Motomamis, with a small adjustment coming in with the squeezer here.
Yeah, that was the main standout to me too that I saw, was that squeezer being the main weapon switch up that I see initially. And with both teams here starting in the mid, both teams are going to use their armor right away, but the win is going to go to the side of Motomamis as they get a complete wipe on no stingrays. What a way to start out a match, getting a complete wipe. And can they get the dunk? They are trying to push up and get the dunk with Lex leading the way. Lex is getting all those kills, gonna pop this Booyah Bomb, and as long as their teammates can pop the Rainmaker behind them, oh, you know what? Lex said, hey, you know what? I'll just throw this Booyah Bomb, turn around, and I'll just dunk it myself.
Yeah, make sure that the team can't push up and then just score it on my own. Easy.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah. Really unfortunate for that full wipe here on the side of no stingrays, but that's just how important it is to stay alive here in Splatoon, especially going down at the same time as all of your teammates. In a game like Rainmaker, where the objective is just to move forward as fast as possible, it's not like tower control where they have to stall at checkpoints or anything like that. You can just go straight there if you really wanted to. So really needing to make sure that you don't go down at the same time. You need to make sure that you don't full wipe, and that there's someone on your team who can defend in some way, shape, or form. And unfortunately, it's happened to the best of us. A full wipe into the knockout.
We've all been there. We all know the pain.
Yeah,
and
I was there last night, straight up.
You're like, I remember.
Yeah,
I won't forget.
it's still painful. Oh my.
So with Motomamis right now being 2 up in the set versus no stingrays, I mean, remember, this is a best of 7, so the first team to get to 4 wins will win the entire tournament. So as we go into the next game, no stingrays is definitely not out yet. They still have a chance at winning this entire tournament. Next game 3 that we get to see on stream is going to be tower control on Sturgeon Shipyard.
The only tower control map in this set, I know that no stingrays actually was looking pretty good on tower control last set. I know that that was the game that they won the set with on what was the map? Anchovy Games. And so I'm wondering if we're going to be able to see them bring some of that adaptation back here. Maybe some Nautilus. I think that Nautilus is a weapon that I love to see play on literally any map, but with the inkjet, with the ability to maneuver, and most importantly, that shot velocity coming out at close range where people like to play around the tower, I think it could be a really good pick.
That would be a really interesting pick and definitely come into play to being helpful for them. And especially inkjets, there's so many different spots where that can be really helpful here. Unfortunately, as we see both team comps come out here, no Nautiluses, but we do see one inkjet on the board from Balto. So weapons and comps the same on the side of Motomamis. And then on the other side, we do see Shoot actually switching over to the custom jet squelcher. So that will be really good for them for defense, I think.
Yeah, those stingrays and just the ability to throw the burst bombs at the tower, the range, the ability to disengage while still somehow being engaged with that range that they have. I think it's just a really good thing.
I agree, and as long as they can back up and know that they need to save their stingrays, I mean, that's going to become really, really helpful for them on defense as we're seeing them use that stingray, and we're seeing Link following up, and the other teammates, of course, on the side of no stingrays following up through that stingray to help their team get those picks. But unfortunately, wow, what a, instant dominant comeback from Motomamis, so I didn't even have time to finish my sentence before they were all back and already on the tower.
I don't think any of them died the way that it looked, because they were gone and then all of a sudden they were there. Some kind of David Blaine shenanigans or something going on over here, because they were nowhere to be found and then all at once.
They
Right
have
now,
that-
oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say they have that recognition of like, hey, if we just play this really aggressively, we're gonna do great and get the picks. And their aggression is something that you have to be really careful of when you're the other team.
Yeah, absolutely. But no Stingrays coming back in here, trying to make a counter push of their own. They know they need to basically come back and push this tower all the way to make it to having a victory on their side of the match here. So they're going to be doing everything that they possibly can, throwing those missiles, avoiding those booyah bombs, breaking that first checkpoint. I think is one of the most important checkpoints to break here on this map, just because if you can't get down into that pit, it's going to be really, really difficult to push forward. You don't want to have players down there unable to help anybody in the tower, so having the person on the tower being able to fight with their teammates is so, so important. So I'm really happy that they were able to break this checkpoint.
Breaking the checkpoint is gonna allow them to be able to, if they get that opening moment that they need, as long as they have that checkpoint, that's gonna really, really open up their abilities to be able to get their lead that they need. So with mid being painted completely purple right now, no Stingrays once again here riding the tower. And you can see they're all grouping up here. They do have a Stingray at the ready, and they're trying to get in a position to start getting picks. Link here getting that pick on Pina. That's a really, really good start. And taking the snipe area, that's going to be so good for them if they want to continue this push that they have going.
That hitbox that the Slosher has, it has good range, it has a really strong hitbox. You know, going on that snipe was really, really good idea. They did drop down and get splatted over there by the sponge, but did create a little bit of space for their team to score up to 36. Sometimes here in Splatoon, it's not about making one large giant push, it's about pushing the team back over and over and over again until you eventually win the battle of attrition, which it looks like No Stingrays is trying to do, and they're doing pretty effectively here.
That's such a good point. You know, sometimes you don't need to just get all the team completely wiped and to be able to work on getting the lead. They are slowly chipping away at getting the lead. They're working together to try and stay alive and just get in a position to get the lead. Unfortunately, Shoot there, left alone in mid, gonna go down, and that is allowing Motomamis to just swarm the tower here, immediately start pushing, recognizing that they have the advantage. And both teams here just really kind of doing their best with only a minute left of this to get into mid to get to tower.
Yeah, being over here just going everywhere they possibly can, standing there right as the Booyah Bomb comes down. Doesn't really have a whole lot of options when you're standing right there shooting at the Booyah Bomb with no one else helping, but they are able to send the tower back into a reset. We do see that Motomamis is getting pushed back a little bit. They're having a hard time asserting dominance and establishing control over the zone, but sharking right so that they can get Shoot making the play and making sure that they get the incredible knockout that they needed to make sure that this tower push keeps going.
Tower push gonna keep going here with missiles coming out from Go Easy on Me, and with the Stingray at the ready and no Stingrays starting to push the tower, getting jumps in. This was what they needed. They had the jumps, they had the specials at the ready, but unfortunately they do have two members down, and with just their Stingray player up, they're gonna do everything they can to get jumps in to get to the tower. Let's see if they can get anything going.
Alright, we have Bean back on the tower, but oh, what happened there? I thought they at least had it contested.
Oh, it looked like the other team member of the other team, Motomamis, had someone there just like a millisecond earlier.
Just a tad bit right before the clock stopped, and unfortunately that is going to be game 3 going to Motomamis. But it looks like, to me, Rissa, it looks like No Stingrays is finally starting to adapt to the playstyle that Motomamis is bringing, the aggression that they're bringing. They're finally able to kind of adapt, and I think that we're seeing it in that third game. They got closer to ever than winning than they did in the first 2 games, and I think that they're ready to bring it here. Clan Blitz, this is the wild card, you know. You either love it or you hate it. I personally love it. I know a lot of people out there hate it, but I think that this is the game that, well, not only this is the game that No Stingrays needs to win to keep the set going, because if they don't, they are knocked out, but I think this is the game that they can bring it.
I think so too. I mean, Clam Blitz on Snapper Canal, it's one of those maps where if one team or the other really gets the upper hand, it can really spiral. And with the way that no Stingrays on that last match, I mean, they were doing better than ever at getting into mid and getting to objective. They were sticking together more, and it felt like they were really figuring out their synergy. So I agree. I think this could be the map and mode where no Stingrays could have a comeback started.
Yeah, no Stingrays is really, like I said, they're adapting. They're coming back. I think that we're going to see something incredible and spectacular from them. I don't know exactly what that looks like. I don't know what form it takes. I don't know what weapons it takes. But maybe it'll have a Stingray in it. I don't know. We'll have to see.
You know, with the way it's been going, I think you're right. I think there might be a Stingray involved on no Stingrays. I think you're right.
It just seems a little too perfect that there wouldn't be any Stingrays. I think it would be a little bit too true to name that no Stingrays has no Stingrays, and I don't like it when that happens. I like names to be ironic, not literal.
This is like making my brain think a lot more than I was planning. I'm like, wait, you're right. Yeah. It's definitely more ironic.
Head empty, only Splatoon, and also language arts? Question mark?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like learning things right now in grand finals. I love it.
But here we're about to hop into our last, not our last game, hopefully, but it's going to be hopping into our game 4 here at Clam Blitz at Snapper Canal. I am excited to see what these two teams bring out, and I want to see no Stingrays say, we've adapted, we figured you guys out, we know how to win a game from you.
I think it's going to be really important for them to make sure they have their eyes on that 52 gal Lex, because Lex can be so detrimental if you are not watching them. So I think, if no Stingrays can get a grip on that and figure out how to counteract that, which we saw them previously working at towards on that last game, I definitely think that there's a shot at it for them.
Yeah, and Lex and their companion K-Shot going over towards the bike, trying to take as much control over the map as possible. That kind of Pac-Man strategy. You go in one side of the map, going on the other side of the map, and close in. But Link not letting it happen, panning up their own bike over here, waiting for the Booyah Bomb to go down, but jumping out just in time as they realize that they've been spotted.
What a great jump out from Link there. You know what? Recognizing, hey, this Booyah Bomb is going to be literally right at me. I can just jump away to a teammate. That played out really well for them and allowed their team to be able to figure out how to regroup. Unfortunately, the Nautilus on the side of no Stingrays going down. But hey, guess what? Right as I'm saying that, 2 members of Motomamis do go down. Motomamis, though, they had a really good position there, and they were able to score the clam, so they have their clam points all the way down to 74 and continue to get picks and mid control right now.
Yeah, Motomamis just coming through here with all of the aggression that we've seen this entire set. They're setting up to score again. Honestly, they just are holding this, waiting for an overextension on the side of no Stingrays, waiting for them to not be prepared for what's about to happen, pushing in with the Inkjet, but Link over here not letting anything get past them, just jumping out again from another Booyah Bomb targeted at them, but not able to stop all of the clams going into the basket as they try to make a counter push and try to get some picks over here to open something up for their team.
Yeah, Link there trying to push in. Link did go down, didn't necessarily get any picks, but they did push the other team back. So that is allowing their teammates to follow up behind them and get picks. So Lex going down here by Go Easy on Me, and Paint finally coming out from the side of no Stingrays. This is what they needed to be able to get in positions to try and get a push going. With 17 clams at the ready, 1 member down on both teams, 2 members down on both teams. It's looking like a bloodbath in mid right now as one team or the other is trying to get their upper hand.
Completely wiped. The side of Motomamis was actually completely wiped. I need to see no Stingrays taking advantage of this and scoring some points here, because they had the full wipe. They have 2 clams up there. If they can just get that score, but no, shoot on the Stingray, making sure that their team can get in safely, having to back out there and not being able to score that second clam, giving the pity over to Motomamis.
That was really good of Shoot, though, to recognize, hey, I'm the last one up here. I should just safely back up. Getting a complete wipe would have been really, really detrimental for them. Unfortunately, Shoot going to go down here by Lex, and Lex just absolutely pushing up really aggressively with this 52, using walls to act aggressively. And it's just Lex up. If Lex can get to the basket, no, Lex doesn't necessarily get to the basket, doesn't really have any clams, and isn't able to finish out that push that they had going. They were really, really close to ending that match.
So no Stingrays is over here, probably sweating just a little bit, but painting up the map, collecting clams, trying not to die. Go easy on me, running away from a splatable situation, jumping out to their teammate as Azuna is on the hunt for them. Carrying that power clam, everybody knows where they are, but all the specials coming out on the side of Motomamis as they finish off this game.
Wow, that was pretty dominant. I mean, they had all their specials at the ready. They had 26 clams there right at the end. I mean, they had it set up beautifully to just go ahead and completely KO that game. So taking this set 4-0 over No Stingrays, Motomamis is officially your Swimmer Sync 64 champion.
Congratulations to Motomamis. Y'all played so well. You were cracked. You were insane. You were so good. I was so happy to watch. Unfortunately, a 4-game set. No Stingrays was not able to bring one game off of Motomamis, but I wouldn't say that they played poorly. I think that they played their openings the way that they needed to, just did not have the time or maybe just a little too staggered to make something happen. I was so happy to have seen that set.
I was too. I mean, it felt like No Stingrays was finally getting the grip on their synergy, how to work together, and figure out how to counteract Motomamis. But unfortunately, we didn't get to see that, and Motomamis just acted absolutely dominant. And it was still a really, really good pleasure to watch because we could see the way that No Stingrays was starting to figure out how the other team.
Got you. Yeah, I mean, Motomamis, the aggression was just so deadly. I would not have wanted to be on the other side of that. They definitely showed why they deserve to win here tonight, and so congratulations to them to being our Swim or Sync 64 champions.
Yes, definitely congratulations to them. And we are going to go ahead and actually do some ads here. So I just wanted to go ahead and shout out the first one. Midnight Lights is Midnight Lights is a new mid-level exclusive tournament with a skill cap and skill floor. So join us April 22nd at 7 p.m. Eastern Daytime for the chance at a cash prize. For any questions or announcements, join the Discord, which is the Midnight Lights Discord listed probably in chat. I can see it on my end. Registration closes 2 hours before, so the sooner the better. Make sure that you register as soon as you can.
Yep, and the other one that we had on screen just a second ago, we have Kickoff. Unity Gaming is proud to present its first tournament, Kickoff, this Sunday, April 10th at 7:30 CDT. Please join us for a no-holds-barred single elimination tournament with a $100 prize pool. For more information, contact Alias or go on Discord or join the Unity Discord server, which is discord.gg/unitygaming.
And now the next one, I've actually seen this one advertised a couple times, is Narval Carnival is hosting their first international tournament, Disco Starlight, a tournament focused on a gimmick banning mechanic. Tired of the same comps being played all the time? Yeah, us too. I know I am. This tournament provides a banning system per round, making it harder for traditional comps to be seen after one round. The first edition of Disco Starlight will happen on April 10th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. To celebrate the first edition, art prizes to every bracket plus cool Discord roles will be held to the bracket winners. More information about Disco Starlight can be found at the Discord link, which someone in chat might use for you guys.
Yes. And then finally, we have an advertisement from Spawn Point, the stream team that you and I are both a part of, Rissa.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to be hosting Think Before You Ink, a turf war tournament this Saturday on April 9th in support of Project Hope. Which is relief for the people over in Ukraine. This tournament is going to be focused on getting as close to 48% in turf war as possible, so it is possible to not get the most turf but still win. There is going to be a $1,000 prize pool for the players of the tournament, as well as we will be collecting donations to give to Project Hope in relief for people who have been displaced and need assistance in Ukraine. So this is a charity tournament, turf war with a twist. If you have any questions, you can go to the Spawn Point Discord server as well as the Battlefy page, and you can scan that QR code to sit on screen. It is safe. I promise. I scanned it once, and I was not sent to the Squid Games. So, you guys can feel free to look for a team in our Discord as well.
I am very excited for all these tournaments coming up. I've seen a few of them advertised on Twitter, so a lot of stuff to look forward to in Splatoon tournaments that are coming up for the community. So with that being said, that's going to be it for us here at IPL and me, Rissa, and Sleeves. Sleeves, do you have any final thoughts or want to shout out yourself before we end the stream here?
Final thoughts was thanks for IPL for having me commentate this tournament. It was a really great time, especially to be here with you, Rissa. Shouting out myself, you can find me anywhere and everywhere, TikTok, Twitch, Twitter, anywhere at Sleeves McFly.
Beautiful. And I'm sure you guys, you know me, I'm around. You can find me at Rissa High on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. And that's about it for Sleeves and I and everyone here at IPL. Thank you guys at home so much for watching and helping cheer on these teams. It means a lot to us to have your support. So with that being said, we are going to go ahead and raid Reborn _NA. That's it for us. Thank you guys so much for being here, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.